Medieval social media. To my long-suffering cat, Sir Reginald the Third, a.k.a. Reggie, who endured countless hours of muttering about medieval memes and hashtag strategies while I wrote this book. His unwavering patience and occasional disdainful glances were invaluable. Without his fluffy, judgmental presence, I suspect this project would have ended in a far more chaotic manner, perhaps involving a spontaneous recreation of a medieval joust using a broom and a pile of laundry. This book is also dedicated to the unsung heroes of the medieval period, the sanitation workers, who I imagine had the most brutally honest Twitter feeds in the whole kingdom, the midwives, whose Instagram stories would be a masterclass in resilience, and the cooks, whose TikTok accounts would probably be highly competitive, featuring the tastiest medieval recipes. This is a testament to their contributions, however small they may appear in the dusty annals of history, and an acknowledgement that even in the grittiest of eras, humor and connection found a way to thrive. Finally, this work is dedicated to the curious, the irreverent, and the history-loving social media addicts among you. I hope this journey into the hilariously relatable past sparks joy and laughter, reminding us that some things, the human desire for a good story, for a little bit of drama, and for the validation of a like, are timeless. May your timelines be ever full, and may your historical understanding be enriched by a good dose of absurdity. And for goodness sake, please use the medieval social media hashtag if you share any thoughts on this bizarre exploration of the past. I'd love to see your responses. Chapter 1, Rise of the Medieval Hashtag. The year is 520 AD. Camelot hums with a nervous energy, a palpable buzz that has nothing to do with the usual courtly intrigue. Something new has arrived, something that crackles with unseen power and promises a revolution in communication. The first rudimentary iteration of a medieval Twitter. This wasn't a smooth, polished platform, mind you. Think more dial-up internet circa 1995, but with parchment and carrier pigeons instead of fiber optic cables. King Arthur, ever the stickler for tradition, was the first to tentatively dip his toe into this digital sea. His inaugural tweet, painstakingly inscribed on a specially prepared scroll before being painstakingly photographed and sent via a network of specially trained ravens, read, "Greetings, loyal subjects. This novel communication device, dubbed the Twitter, will henceforth serve as a royal means of disseminating important pronouncements. Long live Camelot. Royal Proclamation Arthur, the Just Camelot Connect." The tone, as you can imagine, was stiff, lacking the casual wit and pithy brevity that would become the hallmark of later medieval tweeters. Arthur's attempt felt more like a royal decree than a casual update. Sir Lancelot, ever the romantic, retweeted it with a heartfelt, "Hear, hear, loyal subject, for king and country, Arthurian adventures." Guinevere, however, remained unconvinced. A whisper of a tweet appeared on her feed. Seems rather verbose. Royal overkill, need more emojis, could use some sparkling wine. The court scribes, meanwhile, were in a state of utter panic, used to the slow, deliberate process of meticulously crafting royal pronouncements. They were overwhelmed by the speed and immediacy of this newfangled communication system. One scribe, A particularly nervous fellow named Geoffrey was seen muttering incantations to Merlin, hoping to somehow reverse the tide of technological advancement. But the commoners? They embraced it with a gusto that would make any modern social media manager envious. They saw the potential, the power, the sheer, unadulterated fun of it all. Suddenly, Camelot's digital landscape exploded with tweets, each one a vibrant snapshot of medieval life. A blacksmith proudly proclaimed his latest creation. Behold, my new sword, forged in the fires of Mount Doom. Okay, maybe just the village forge, but still, blacksmith life, medieval crafts, sharp as a whisper. A peasant woman, clearly not impressed by Arthur's lofty pronouncements, vented her frustration about her taxes. Another day, another ridiculously high tax bill. Medieval problems taxation without representation, whereas my fair share. Merlin, ever that enigmatic figure, became a social media sensation overnight. His cryptic tweets, often accompanied by pictures of enchanted forests and mystical creatures, drove the hashtag Merlin Made Me Do It into the stratosphere. His followers eagerly awaited his pronouncements, desperately trying to decipher the hidden meanings behind his cryptic pronouncements. One such tweet read simply, "Beware the Ides of March, and also check your spam folder." The popularity of the Merlin Made Me Do It hashtag was surpassed only by the sudden craze for selfies with Excalibur. The sword itself had become a symbol of status. A photo with Arthur's legendary blade, proof of the taker's closeness to power, was the holy grail of medieval social media. Excalibur's selfie became the dominant trending topic. Sir Lancelot's selfie, a carefully composed shot showcasing his muscular physique and Excalibur's gleaming edge, garnered thousands of likes, represented by small, hand-drawn hearts on the accompanying scrolls. Even Arthur himself participated, although his selfie, taken with a slightly nervous expression and Excalibur held at a stiff angle, lacked the effortless charm of Lancelot's. The ladies-in-waiting, meanwhile, created a whole new subculture. They invented a series of elegant, highly stylized tweets about courtly love and the latest fashions, complete with detailed descriptions of fabrics, embroidery, and jeweled headdresses. The hashtag courtly love became immensely popular, filled with breathless descriptions of romantic encounters, coded messages, and thinly veiled insults directed at rival suitors. The sudden proliferation of social media in Camelot wasn't without its drawbacks. Misinformation spread like wildfire, literally, considering the method of communication involved. Rumors of dragons, giants, and impending invasions circulated freely, creating widespread anxiety. The use of the newly invented medieval emoji system, small hand-drawn icons on scrolls, only amplified this, sometimes unintentionally. A simple smiley face meant one thing for one person and quite another for someone else, often leading to unfortunate misunderstandings and minor scuffles within the realm. However, the overall impact of this early form of social media was undeniable. It bridged the gap between the various social classes, revealing the shared experiences and concerns that transcended social hierarchies. A blacksmith could interact with a noble, a peasant with a knight, all sharing their perspectives and experiences through this shared digital space. This nascent form of online community, in its chaotic early days, inadvertently fostered a new sense of connection and understanding within the kingdom. The unexpected popularity of the Twitter, however crude, revealed a fundamental human need for connection, a desire to share stories and opinions that extended beyond the limits of time and technology. The evolution of this medieval social media platform would not only transform the communication landscape of Camelot, but also lay the groundwork for future developments in communication technology. The world, after all, would never be the same. The initial awkwardness of King Arthur's first tweet soon gave way to a flurry of activity. Camelot's digital landscape, once a quiet, parchment-filled space, exploded with a vibrant tapestry of medieval voices. While royal proclamation and Arthurian adventures held court for a time, new hashtags quickly emerged, reflecting the anxieties, hopes, and petty dramas of life in the Middle Ages. The rise of Crusade chronicles was particularly noteworthy. Initially, the hashtag was dominated by accounts from noble knights, boasting of valiant deeds and glorious victories. Sir Reginald Strongforth, for example, tweeted a picture of himself, rather dramatically posed atop a captured Saracen flag, with the caption, "Another successful raid." Spoils of war include 3 camels, a surprisingly delicious date cake, and a rather impressive collection of turbans. Crusade Chronicles, Blessed by God Victory, is sweet camels ere difficult to transport. However, Crusade Chronicles soon became a space for more nuanced perspectives. Tweets from ordinary soldiers, anonymously posted to avoid repercussions, painted like a less glamorous picture. One particularly poignant tweet, signed simply, "A weary foot soldier," read, "Sand, sun, and a constant fear of being eaten by a camel." The date cake was good, though. Crusade Chronicles, "Homesick, send beer. Please send beer." This contrasted sharply with Sir Reginald's account, offering a glimpse into the very different experiences within a single campaign. The juxtaposition of these narratives sparked debate and discussion, demonstrating the unexpected transparency and level of social commentary offered by this medieval digital space. The hashtag courtly love, as anticipated, became a breeding ground for elaborate displays of romantic, or sometimes less than romantic, intrigue. Ladies in waiting engaged in a dazzling display of wit, cleverly coded messages, and thinly veiled insults, all couched in exquisitely flowery language. A particularly memorable exchange occurred between Lady Isolde and Lady Guinevere. Lady Isolde: "My heart aches with longing for a certain knight whose smile shines brighter than the summer sun. Courtly love, secret admirer, he knows who he eyes." Lady Guinevere: "Oh, really? Perhaps that knight is also known for his exceptional skill at juggling." Flaming torches near flammable thatched roofs. Courtly love, subtle sarcasm, be careful what you wish for. These tweets, laden with allusions to courtly poetry and social norms, reveal how even seemingly frivolous exchanges could have weighty, possibly even life-altering consequences in the medieval world. Courtly love became less about expressing genuine affection and more about manipulating social dynamics and showcasing wit within the strictly regulated environment of the royal court. But perhaps no hashtag captured the complexities of medieval life quite as effectively as Black Death blues. This hashtag served as a digital space for people to process that unspeakable horror of the plague, a collective expression of grief, fear, and resilience. Some tweets were raw and emotionally brutal. Another neighbor gone. The carts come nightly now. Pray for us. Black Death blues. Fear grief. Pray for us. Other tweets, seemingly defiant in the face of death, focused on survival, community, and coping mechanisms. Recipes for plague remedies, mostly useless, jokes to lighten the mood, and accounts of people helping each other were frequent occurrences. One such tweet, attributed to a monk named Brother Thomas, displayed a rare mixture of humor and grim resignation. The plague is less fun than it's cracked up to be. At least the birds are enjoying all the leftover feasts. Black Death blues, silver linings, still need more, wine send wine. Brother Thomas's tweet perfectly encapsulated the human response to overwhelming tragedy, a morbid attempt at humor in the face of despair. The responses to these tweets were varied and often deeply moving. A wealthy merchant might offer financial assistance to a distressed family. A knight might offer protection, or a priest might offer spiritual comfort. The relative anonymity provided by the Twitter allowed people to express needs and offer support without the constraints of rigid social hierarchy. Black Death blues transcended social boundaries, demonstrating the unexpectedly egalitarian potential of this new form of communication. Beyond these major hashtags, a host of niche categories flourished. Medieval recipes became a hub for sharing culinary concoctions, ranging from delightfully simple to utterly baffling. Monastic life presented a window into the daily routines of monasteries, with surprisingly relatable accounts of early morning prayers and complaints about lack of good ale. Chivalry is Dead became, unexpectedly, a space for both satirical commentary on the often disappointing reality of knighthood and surprisingly earnest discussions of moral codes and expectations. Moreover, the use of early medieval emoji, small hand-drawn icons representing various emotions and concepts, added a surprising layer of complexity to online communication. A simple smiley face, for instance, might mean sincere joy or a sarcastic riposte, its interpretation entirely dependent on context. Misunderstandings were frequent, leading to minor squabbles and occasionally even violent altercations, all thoroughly documented, of course, on the digital platform. These communicative misunderstandings became a trending topic on their own, with hashtags such as emoji fail and misunderstood providing even more avenues for medieval social commentary. The unexpected popularity of the medieval equivalent of social media demonstrated the innate human desire for connection, validation, and community. Regardless of the era, the fundamental human needs to share experiences, vent frustrations, and celebrate joys remained essentially unchanged. The absurdity of medieval knights tweeting about their conquests or peasants complaining about taxes with modern-sounding hashtags offers a delightful satire, but underlying the humor lies a deep truth about the enduring continuity of the human experience across time. The medieval world, with its plagues, wars, and courtly intrigues, mirrored our own in many unexpected ways. Through this digital lens, separated by centuries, we were able to share a laugh, learn from the past, and perhaps even recognize ourselves. The Grim Reaper, it turned out, had a surprisingly active online presence. Black Death Blues, initially a space for lamentations and prayers, rapidly morphed into a digital repository of plague-themed memes, grimly humorous sketches, and panicked pleas for help. While the actual memes wouldn't resemble the perfectly formed images of modern internet culture, the spirit of viral spread was undeniably present. Imagine, if you will, hastily drawn charcoal sketches, crudely depicting skeletal figures riding broomsticks, a surprisingly popular motif representing the swift and merciless nature of the disease, circulating through the digital equivalent of medieval Camelot. These images, often accompanied by short, terrifying captions, spread like wildfire through the network, eliciting a mixture of fear, morbid curiosity, and dark humor. One particularly memorable meme depicted a rat, grotesquely swollen and diseased, wearing a tiny crown with the caption, "Your new king has arrived. Black Death Blues, King Rat, Pest Prince, send help." The absurdity of the image, coupled with the very real terror of the plague, created a strangely compelling effect. This wasn't mere digital entertainment. It was a reflection of the collective psyche grappling with unimaginable loss and fear. The crudely drawn crown, a subtle but powerful commentary on the powerlessness of even royalty in the face of the pandemic, resonated deeply with the users. Similar drawings circulated, depicting figures shrouded in white, fleeing plague-ridden towns. The artists, largely anonymous, captured the chaos and panic in the simplicity of their images. The memes weren't limited to visual representations. Short, often cryptic rhymes and verses also spread like wildfire, capturing the bleak realities of the situation. One such rhyme, rapidly gaining traction, described the symptoms with unsettling accuracy. Swollen lymph nodes, a fever's sting, a cough that rattles, death's cold wing. Black Death Blues symptoms, pray for us, help me. These short, impactful phrases, easily memorized and repeated, served as a grim form of social commentary, relaying the horrifying realities of the disease in an easily digestible format. They spread fear, but also a sense of shared experience, a bleak camaraderie born from collective suffering. Alongside the dark humor and morbid depictions came desperate cries for help, accounts of families wiped out, pleas for medicine, often accompanied by desperate pleas for prayer, and heart-wrenching farewells flooded the digital channels. A tweet from a user identified only as Agnes read, "My children, gone. The fever took them in a single night. God have mercy. Black Death Blues, lost my family, pray for me." The raw emotion, amplified by the immediacy of the digital platform, provided a stark contrast to the darkly humorous memes. This duality, the coexistence of grim humor and overwhelming grief, is perhaps the most striking aspect of the medieval digital landscape during the plague. The response to these posts was as varied and complex as the crisis itself. Wealthy merchants, feeling the impact of the plague on their businesses, offered financial assistance, often specifying the exact sums of money sent to which ravaged village or struggling family. Knights, initially absent from these channels, began using their influence to direct aid and support, often using their platform to organize relief efforts. Religious figures responded with prayers, blessings, and the sharing of often dubious remedies, often leading to interesting discussions and sometimes arguments in the comment sections. The digital equivalent of medieval influencers emerged as well, figures with large followings who provided some degree of leadership. Some focused on promoting practical advice, sharing information about sanitation and quarantine measures. Others, more mystical, shared recipes for herbal remedies and charms that were at best ineffective and at worst dangerous. These conflicting narratives, practical advice versus superstitious practices, mirrored the challenges of combating a pandemic in a time without the scientific understanding we have today. One such influencer, a seemingly well-meaning but ultimately misguided monk named Brother Benedict, championed a peculiar remedy involving crushed emeralds and chanting. His posts, while met with some skepticism, drew a large audience, fueled by the desperate need for solutions in a time of utter hopelessness. Brother Benedict's posts sparked a flurry of debate, with users weighing in on the effectiveness of his methods, with some people sharing their positive outcomes after using the remedy, others showcasing its ineffectiveness. The discussion, though largely rooted in the superstition of the time, also showcased the collective search for answers. Even amidst widespread death and despair, the medieval users sought solutions and solace within the digital sphere. The spread of both credible information and unfounded beliefs, mirrored by the rapid spread of viral memes, vividly captures the chaotic nature of a world grappling with crisis. Beyond the memes and the frantic pleas for help, Black Death Blues also became a space for unexpected acts of kindness and community. Anonymous users offered to help their neighbors, sharing food, medicine, both effective and ineffective, or simple acts of comfort, offering a glimmer of hope and solidarity. These acts, though anonymous, were nonetheless profound, providing a counterpoint to the darkness of the plague. They revealed the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to find compassion and empathy even amidst overwhelming suffering. The digital echoes of the Black Death, captured within Black Death Blues, provide a sobering yet illuminating glimpse into a world grappling with an unimaginable crisis. The juxtaposition of dark humor, desperation, hope, and community displayed through the simple, even crude digital imagery and texts transcends the centuries, reminding us of the enduring human capacity for resilience, community, and even dark humor in the face of death. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human need for connection, for sharing experiences, and for finding solace in shared grief remains constant. The medieval equivalent of social media, in its chaotic and unsophisticated way, reveals more about the human condition than many scholarly texts could ever hope to achieve. Long before the advent of Instagram influencers hawking teeth-whitening kits and miracle weight loss shakes, medieval society had its own breed of brand ambassadors. While they lacked the perfectly filtered photos and meticulously crafted captions of their modern counterparts, Their marketing tactics were surprisingly sophisticated, demonstrating an understanding of brand building and audience engagement that belies the era's technological limitations. Imagine, if you will, a world where a knight's endorsement could make or break a blacksmith's business, and a minstrel's ballad could launch a weaver's cloth to unparalleled fame. Let's take Sir Reginald Strongforth, a dashing knight with a penchant for brightly colored armor and a surprisingly large following on the medieval equivalent of Twitter. Think carved wooden tablets circulating through a network of messengers. Sir Reginald, known for his heroic deeds and his impeccable fashion sense, had amassed a considerable number of followers, those eager to hear his latest exploits and receive his pronouncements. A shrewd merchant, Master Thomas the Tanner, recognized Sir Reginald's influence and saw an opportunity. Instead of simply advertising his superior leather goods through conventional means, Master Thomas devised a more subtle and significantly more effective approach. He crafted a series of tweets, or rather short, impactful messages etched onto small, easily carried wooden tablets, showcasing Sir Reginald in his finest armor, astride a magnificent steed, his leather harness gleaming in the sunlight. The tablets featured concise, impactful messages such as, Sir Reginald Strongforth chooses only the finest leather from Master Thomas the Tanner, durability and elegance unmatched. These weren't blatant advertisements, but rather carefully crafted pieces of content designed to associate Sir Reginald's image of strength, honor, and impeccable style with Master Thomas's goods. This strategy was far more effective than a simple advertisement. People weren't merely reading an advertisement, they were associating a revered figure with the product. This built trust and brand loyalty in a way that no straightforward commercial ever could. Master Thomas's ingenuity extended beyond simple endorsements. He also fostered a narrative around his leather goods, crafting tales about their superior quality. These tales, spread through word of mouth, the medieval equivalent of viral marketing, painted a picture of exceptional craftsmanship and durability, features that were essential for a knight's armor and gear. Another example of effective medieval influencer marketing involves the celebrated minstrel Ilara the Nightingale. Ilara wasn't just a gifted musician, she possessed a captivating stage presence and a deep understanding of her audience. Her songs, often weaving tales of romance, adventure, and everyday life, were immensely popular across the kingdom. A clever textile merchant, Mistress Agnes, recognizing Ilara's widespread influence, commissioned her to compose a song praising the beauty and quality of her silks. The Song of the Silken Thread, didn't explicitly advertise Mistress Agnes's wares. Instead, it wove a captivating narrative, narrating a romantic tale where the heroine's beauty was enhanced by the shimmering silk of Mistress Agnes's textiles. The song cleverly underscored the quality and elegance of the silk, without ever directly mentioning the merchant. Ilara's performance, both through her mesmerizing singing voice and the narrative itself, created a powerful emotional connection with the audience. The song became an instant hit, indirectly boosting the popularity of Mistress Agnes's silk among the populace. These weren't isolated incidents. Many merchants and artisans recognized the power of leveraging the influence of popular figures to promote their goods. The key element of their strategies wasn't just the endorsement itself, but the context and narrative they built around it. They understood the power of storytelling, subtly associating their products with positive emotions and desirable qualities. They also understood the importance of building relationships with influencers, forming mutually beneficial alliances, which translated into increased sales and recognition for both parties. Imagine a blacksmith, renowned for his craftsmanship, collaborating with a local lord to create customized weaponry. This collaborative effort would showcase not only the lord's prestige, but also the superior quality of the blacksmith's work. The blacksmith might then create small replicas of this weaponry, marketed as Lord Elmsworth's approved, further leveraging the Lord's prestige to sell his products. Such strategies, though simple in concept, showcased an understanding of brand building and audience engagement, a testament to the creativity and ingenuity of medieval marketing minds. In the absence of mass media, medieval societies relied on word of mouth, storytelling, and personal connections to spread information. Influencer marketing, therefore, was not just a strategy. It was an integral part of the social and economic fabric. This wasn't about buying fake followers or using bots. It was about cultivating genuine relationships, building trust, and telling compelling stories that resonated with the audience. These methods, while simple compared to the sophisticated tools available today, were surprisingly effective, testament to the enduring power of human connection and storytelling in building a brand. Let's delve a little deeper into the methods employed. Visual marketing was crucial. Think of intricately designed shop signs, perhaps featuring the patron saint of the profession, combined with vivid imagery of the product itself. These signs acted as early advertisements, capturing attention and communicating information visually. Artisans would also participate in town fairs and markets, showcasing their skills and wares directly to potential customers. The interactive element of this approach created a direct connection, enabling artisans to establish a strong rapport and build a loyal customer base. This direct interaction formed the foundation of the medieval approach to influencer marketing. Rather than relying on impersonal advertising, medieval merchants actively built relationships with influential figures in their communities. This created a sense of trust and legitimacy that was paramount in an era where product authenticity was a primary concern. For instance, a popular knight's endorsement wasn't just a paid promotion. It signified a genuine belief in the product's quality. The medieval approach to influencer marketing also demonstrates a profound understanding of niche markets. While a knight's endorsement might be ideal for selling weaponry or armor, a traveling minstrel's influence would be more effectively leveraged to sell luxury fabrics or musical instruments. The strategy wasn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It catered specifically to the target audience. This strategic targeting maximized the impact of the endorsement, ensuring that the message reached the most receptive audience. Furthermore, the medieval period witnessed early forms of content marketing, albeit in a vastly different form. Think of beautifully illustrated manuscripts detailing the origins and characteristics of fine silks or the process of crafting intricate jewelry. These manuscripts, often commissioned by wealthy patrons, functioned as premium content, showcasing not just the products, but also the skill and artistry involved in their creation. They served as both a brand promotion and a work of art, elevating the perception of the product to a level beyond mere commerce. Consider also the use of testimonials and social proof. Imagine a merchant displaying positive reviews of their products, perhaps through carefully crafted written accounts from satisfied customers or public displays of gratitude from powerful nobles who had purchased their goods. These testimonials validated the product's quality and helped establish trust, a critical factor in a time when information was largely limited to word of mouth and personal experience. The ingenuity of medieval marketing tactics transcends the centuries. Their approaches were simple yet effective, showcasing a deep understanding of human psychology, the importance of trust, and the power of storytelling. They highlight the enduring principles of brand building and the timeless effectiveness of genuine relationships in fostering customer loyalty and brand recognition. In a world saturated with modern marketing strategies, looking back at the resourceful marketing techniques of the medieval period provides a valuable lesson in the enduring power of authentic connection and compelling narratives. Even without the tools of the digital age, medieval merchants and artisans mastered the art of influencer marketing, proving that the fundamental principles of effective marketing remain constant, irrespective of technological advancements. The year is 1347. A frantic scribe, ink splattered across his tunic, furiously scratches a message onto parchment. The Black Death ravages the north. Avoid contact. Pray for deliverance. This vital piece of information, a medieval equivalent of a breaking news alert, will take days, possibly weeks, to reach its intended recipients. It's a far cry from the instant updates of a modern Twitter feed, where news, misinformation, and cat videos jostle for attention in a never-ending scroll. The journey of this urgent message begins, carried by a sweating, dust-coated messenger, riding a horse whose stamina is being tested by the urgency of the task. Each leg of the journey represents a potentially fatal delay. The message, penned in elegant script, is a fragile thing, vulnerable to rain, theft, or the messenger's own mortality. This is the reality of communication before the internet, a world where the speed of information dissemination was dictated by the pace of a horse's hooves, the endurance of a human courier, or the erratic whims of the wind. Contrast this with today's instantaneous communication. The news of a global pandemic would spread globally within seconds. The contrast is stark, a comical illustration of the evolution of communication, a journey from painstakingly crafted scrolls to the instantaneity of a digital tweet. Imagine our medieval scribe suddenly transported to the 21st century, confronted with the immediacy of a smartphone. His eyes would widen, taking in the sheer volume of information streaming across the screen. He'd marvel at the speed with which news, rumors, and trivial updates are shared, a speed that would seem like magic to him. The speed of communication wasn't the only difference. The reach of information was also drastically altered. In the medieval period, the radius of information transmission was constrained by geographical limitations. News traveled as fast as a messenger could ride, restricted by terrain and the availability of reliable pathways. In contrast, social media transcends geographical boundaries, allowing information to spread instantaneously across the globe, creating a sense of global community, both beneficial and detrimental. This instantaneous access to information brought about both the rapid dissemination of vital information and the equally swift spread of misinformation, a phenomena the medieval scribe could not have possibly conceived. Consider the humble town crier, a figure as much a part of medieval life as the church bells or the blacksmith's forge. His booming voice, echoing through the cobblestone streets, served as the primary means of communicating announcements, proclamations, and news of local events. A daily broadcast, limited in its scope, but crucial to the functioning of the community. His calls, however, were ephemeral, easily lost in the cacophony of daily life. He'd announce lost dogs, stolen goods, and the arrival of traveling merchants. Each proclamation was a short, sharp burst of information, nothing like the sustained engagement of social media feeds. This local news network was very different from the World Wide Web of today's interconnected societies. Now picture that same town crier attempting to manage a Twitter account. The sheer volume of updates, the speed of replies, the ever-changing algorithms, the sheer chaos of it would likely lead to a mental breakdown within minutes. He'd be utterly overwhelmed by the torrent of information and interaction, unable to keep up with the demands of his virtual audience. The shift in context is hilarious. A person used to communicating one message at a time to a small audience, now expected to navigate a digital landscape where millions communicate simultaneously. Let's shift our attention to the letter, a cornerstone of medieval communication. The painstakingly crafted missives, penned in elegant script, often took weeks or even months to reach their destination. Each letter represented a significant investment of time and effort, and it carried a weight and significance far exceeding that of a fleeting email or text message. These missives contained weighty matters of state, declarations of love, pleas for assistance, and news of births and deaths, all crafted slowly and carefully. Their language was formal, often flowery, and deliberate. Compare the medieval letter to the modern email. The speed of delivery is breathtaking. The brevity is often jarring. While a medieval letter might have been meticulously crafted over several days, a modern email could be dashed off in seconds, with a brevity that may lead to misinterpretations. The same could be said for text messages, short bursts of information that lack the nuance and formal quality of a medieval letter. This shift in form reflects a change in communication styles, moving away from measured formality to the immediacy and brevity of digital communication. The system of messengers, galloping across the countryside, forms another crucial piece of the medieval communication puzzle. These were the human equivalents of fiber optic cables and satellites, the backbone of a pre-digital communications network. They were more than just carriers of letters. They represented a direct link between different parts of society. Their loyalty, discretion, and endurance were essential. A slow, laborious process, subject to delays and dangers. These riders were responsible for crucial communications. Their journey is a dramatic illustration of the challenges faced in pre-modern societies. A broken leg, a sudden storm, or even a simple misunderstanding could delay essential information, highlighting the limitations of this method. The humor emerges from the contrast between the methodical, slow pace of the medieval messenger and the virtually instantaneous communication of the modern internet. Imagine the messenger, burdened with a saddlebag overflowing with urgent letters, encountering a modern-day social media influencer who effortlessly broadcasts to millions with a single post. The sheer disparity is comical, highlighting the colossal changes in information dissemination. The medieval messenger, a symbol of patience and perseverance, stands in stark contrast to the instant gratification of modern social media. The differences speak volumes about the evolution of communication methods. Official announcements were frequently made using town criers, public postings, and even the ringing of bells. Consider the elaborate pageantry surrounding a royal proclamation, a carefully choreographed event designed to maximize the impact of the message. This ritualistic approach differed greatly from the somewhat haphazard and informal style of online communication. Think of the time and effort that went into creating beautifully illuminated manuscripts, a task that could take years to complete. This is in stark contrast to the fleeting nature of many online posts and messages. The evolution of communication reflects a broader shift in societal structures and priorities. The slow, deliberate pace of medieval communication mirrored a slower, more contemplative way of life. The instantaneity of modern communication, however, reflects the speed and immediacy of the modern world. The contrast is a source of both humor and insight, underscoring the profound changes that have occurred in how humans communicate and share information. The journey from parchment to pixel is a remarkable one, offering a glimpse into the transformative power of technology and its impact on social structures. This journey, fraught with challenges and innovations, is not over, and the future of communication holds further unpredictable shifts. The past, however, holds valuable lessons in the inherent value of human connection and the enduring human desire to share stories, whether through the careful craftsmanship of a medieval letter or the fleeting immediacy of a modern tweet. Chapter 2: Knights, Peasants, and the Papacy. A social media meltdown. King Richard the Lionheart, a man whose reputation preceded him like a plague of locusts across a freshly sown field, wasn't exactly known for his patience. Impulsive, charismatic, and prone to bursts of glorious, if occasionally ill-advised action, Richard's reign was a whirlwind of conquest, political maneuvering, and enough interpersonal drama to fill 1,000 medieval romances, or, in our case, 1,000 tweets. Imagine, if you will, his Twitter feed. A chaotic tapestry woven with threads of braggadocio, insults, and the occasional desperate plea for funding. His first tweet, posted from the siege of Acre in 1191, sets the tone. Acre under siege, these Saracens put up a fierce fight, but fear not, my loyal subjects. Victory is nigh. Lionheart crusades, royal victory needs more wine. The accompanying image, predictably, depicts Richard, immaculately groomed despite the dust and grime of battle, brandishing his sword with a smirk that could curdle milk. The likes pour in, a virtual chorus of praise from his loyal followers, interspersed with the occasional dissenting voice from a disgruntled French lord. The ensuing tweets are a whirlwind of activity, a series of updates on the siege's progress, punctuated by complaints about the quality of the siege food, medieval problems. This stew is fit only for swine. Royal grumbles, needs a better chef. Boasts about his prowess in combat. Just killed another Saracen, easy peasy, Lionheart legend. And surprisingly insightful commentary on the logistics of warfare. Logistics nightmare need more catapults and maybe some decent maps. This whole conquer the Holy Land thing is harder than it looks. Royal struggles. His feud with Philip II of France quickly becomes a running online saga. Richard, never one to shy away from a good digital squabble, relentlessly trolls Philip, who in turn responds with equal measure of petulance and royal indignation. Philippe Auguste is a sniveling cur, tweets Richard, alongside a crudely drawn caricature of Philip with exaggerated features. Philip counters with, Richard the Lionheart, more like Richard, the overly dramatic. Your conquests are fueled by cheap wine and overconfidence, weakening French superiority. The ensuing war of words is a masterclass in medieval online trolling, with both kings employing increasingly imaginative insults, each one more inflammatory than the last, and their followers engaging in a virtual shouting match in the comments section, fanning the flames of conflict. The king's personal life, or lack thereof, provides a fascinating subplot. Richard's neglect of his wife, Berengaria of Navarre, is evident in the subtext of his tweets, a silence deafening in its implication. While he is busy broadcasting his martial achievements, Berengaria's virtual presence is virtually non-existent, her silence a stark contrast to her husband's noisy self-promotion. This creates a curious juxtaposition of the public image of a triumphant king with the untold reality of marital discord. This subtle, almost unspoken narrative adds another layer of intrigue to Richard's digital reign, highlighting the limitations of social media to capture the full scope of human experience. However, the king's online persona isn't just about boisterous displays of power. Moments of unexpected vulnerability punctuate the arrogance and bluster. In a rare, unguarded tweet, he reveals his longing for his homeland. Homesick, this crusade is long and arduous. I miss the green hills of England. England, forever longing for home. This candid admission, a startling break from his usual self-aggrandizing posts, humanizes the king, hinting at the inner turmoil behind the bravado. His financial struggles are also a recurring theme. Requests for more funding from his barons become increasingly desperate. To need money cheerfully, guys. This war is expensive. Please send gold. Or wine. Wine works too. Royal bankruptcy broking. The accompanying image, a somewhat pathetic depiction of Richard in his underclothes, clutching a near-empty money pouch, elicits a mix of amusement and sympathy from his followers. The conflict over the ransom for his release from captivity adds another layer to the narrative. While imprisoned in Austria, the king's tweets become infrequent, filled with a frustrated resignation. Imprisoned, these Austrians are terrible hosts. The food is atrocious. Send wine and gold. Help me, royal prisoner. A strange mix of dignified resilience and unguarded frustration is visible in his messages, allowing the reader an intimate look into the human being behind the royal persona. His eventual return to England is greeted with a deluge of celebratory tweets from his loyal subjects. Back in England, back in my rightful place. England welcomes its rightful king. Prepare for celebrations. Homecoming, Lionheart returns. The celebratory atmosphere, however, is short-lived as new conflicts arise, keeping the digital drama alive. The constant barrage of tweets, the petty squabbles with his enemies, and even his moments of vulnerability all serve to illustrate the contradictions of Richard's character. He was a great warrior, a shrewd politician, a generous benefactor, and yet also arrogant, impulsive, and deeply flawed. His digital presence is just a reflection of this complicated nature, offering a glimpse into the man behind the crown and the sword. The Royal Rumble on Richard's virtual platform is never dull. His tweets offer a compelling narrative, a historical saga viewed through a modern lens, capturing the essence of a complex historical figure and offering an engaging glimpse into the complexities of power, politics, and personal struggles in a medieval kingdom. Even in a fictionalized social media context, the core of Richard the Lionheart's reign, its triumphs and failures, its conflicts and resolutions, remains compelling, a timeless tale of ambition, courage, and the ever-present human need for connection, even if that connection is mediated through the ever-changing landscape of digital communication. His legacy, both real and digital, echoes down through the ages, a reminder of a king who, even in the realm of social media, was always larger than life. The humorous juxtaposition of his medieval reality and the modern format only enhances the dramatic narrative of his tumultuous reign, making for an endlessly engaging read. The relentless barrage of royal pronouncements and aristocratic squabbles on the nascent medieval internet eventually gave way to a different kind of digital discourse, the quiet desperation of the common people. While kings battled for digital supremacy, peasants were fighting a different war, a war for survival, waged not with swords and shields, but with weary hands and hopeful hearts, and increasingly with the nascent power of social media. Peasant problems, as the trending hashtag declared, was a daily reality. Agnes, a young woman working the fields of a small manor in the Cotswolds, was a master of the humble brag. Her tweets, peppered with images of muddy boots and sun-weathered hands, revealed a world far removed from the gilded cages of the nobility. Another day, another acre tilled, she'd tweet, alongside a picture of a meticulously planted row of turnips. It's used. Still, the Lord's taxes seem to grow faster than these roots, though medieval problems, tax burden send help. Her followers, a surprisingly large and diverse group that included other peasants, sympathetic artisans, and even a few secretly rebellious knights, would offer words of encouragement, sharing stories of their own struggles, and offering what little practical advice they could. Agnes's followers were a lifeline in a world where community was essential for survival. They shared news of upcoming markets, tips for preserving food through the harsh winter months, and even the occasional recipe for a particularly hearty stew. Her posts evolved to include not just laments, but also small moments of joy. A picture of a newly born lamb, a celebration of the harvest festival, or a simple testament to the beauty of a sunrise over the rolling hills. These moments of joy, nestled amongst the complaints, created a complex tapestry of peasant life, a life full of hardship, but also resilience, hope, and a surprisingly strong sense of community. The prevalence of famine was another recurring theme in peasant social media. A series of tweets from Thomas, a farmer from a village near Canterbury, documented the agonizing slow death of his crops due to a prolonged drought. Drought failing harvest starvation looms, he tweeted, alongside a picture of withered wheat stalks. Our prayers to the saints have been unanswered. Our stomachs are emptier than our fields. Send rain, pray for rain, medieval Hunger Games. His posts garnered a wave of sympathetic responses, many offering prayers or suggestions for coping with the dwindling food supply. The threat of war was always present, casting a long shadow over peasant life. A particularly harrowing series of posts from Ilara, a woman living near a border region, showed the devastation caused by a passing army. Her images documented looted homes, burned fields, and the desperation of her fellow villagers as they scrambled to escape the approaching conflict. Warishel refugee lost. Everything needs shelter, she wrote, her pleas for help echoing through the medieval digital world. The social media accounts of peasants also revealed a surprisingly sophisticated understanding of politics and economics. While they might not have had the access to information enjoyed by the elites, they had a unique understanding of the impact of political decisions on their daily lives. Their tweets often highlighted the inequities of the feudal system, the burden of taxation, and the corruption of local officials. The posts, often carefully coded to avoid attracting unwanted attention from authorities, served as a powerful form of resistance and collective action. Beyond their tweets and posts, peasants also developed a sophisticated system of secret social media groups, utilizing encrypted messages, coded symbols, and clandestine meetings to share information and organize collective action. These hidden communities, inaccessible to the authorities and the watchful eyes of the nobility, became forums for peasant solidarity, offering support, hope, and a platform for coordinated action against injustices. They shared stories, complaints, and hopes, creating a hidden web of social resistance beneath the official social media landscape. Their ability to connect across geographical boundaries, often through pre-arranged meeting points in markets or religious gatherings, allowed for the sharing of news, strategies, and a much-needed sense of solidarity in the face of adversity. The informal networks built on these hidden communication channels transcended the rigid boundaries of the feudal system, creating a sense of unity and purpose among the peasantry. These hidden social media networks were not without their risks. Discovery could lead to severe punishment, ranging from fines and imprisonment to physical harm or death. Despite these dangers, the benefits of maintaining these secret communications outweighed the risks. The opportunity to share information and organize collective action was too vital for survival. Meanwhile, the contrast between the opulent lives depicted in the nobility's social media feeds and the stark reality shown in the peasants' posts couldn't be more stark. The juxtaposition highlighted the vast chasm of inequality and served as a poignant reminder of the harsh realities of medieval life, even for those who were not directly involved in the day-to-day struggles. This contrast inadvertently provided a unique form of social commentary forcing viewers to acknowledge the systemic inequalities that shaped medieval society. The prevalence of disease in the medieval world was another inescapable theme in peasant social media. Images of sickly children and accounts of widespread outbreaks of plague, dysentery, and other diseases filled the feeds of peasants living in various parts of Europe. The lack of sanitation and medical treatment meant that even a minor ailment could easily turn fatal, contributing to the high infant mortality rate and low life expectancy. The posts, often heart-wrenching in their honesty, revealed the constant fear and anxiety that accompanied life in this era, adding another layer of complexity to the daily struggles of medieval peasants. The juxtaposition between the carefully curated images of royal life and the raw, unfiltered realities depicted by peasants reveals not just the vast gap between social classes, but also the limitations of the official narratives propagated by those in power. The peasant accounts bring to the forefront the forgotten realities, the unspoken struggles, and the quiet acts of resistance that often go unnoticed in the annals of conventional history. In the end, peasant problems became more than just a trending hashtag. It was a testament to the resilience, adaptability, and enduring spirit of the medieval peasantry. Their digital voices, even when stifled and suppressed, spoke volumes about the human experience, a narrative of struggle, community, and the indomitable spirit of those who worked the land. While the kings fought their online battles, the peasants created a separate online world, a digital space where they could connect with one another, offering a glimpse into the lives of those who were otherwise overlooked by history. Their stories, however, are not just historical accounts. They are a reminder that human resilience, the need for connection, and the fight for a better life transcend time and social strata. It's a powerful message that still resonates today. The digital age, even in its nascent medieval form, was not immune to the drama of the papacy. While peasants toiled and kings boasted, the Pope, His Holiness, Gregory the Third, let's just call him Greg, was busy crafting his own brand of online infamy. His pronouncements, once delivered from gilded pulpits to hushed congregations, now echoed across the burgeoning medieval internet, a blend of spiritual guidance and surprisingly petty feuds. Greg's official pronouncements, disseminated through meticulously crafted papal edicts posted on the nascent equivalent of a church-run website. Think a very slow-loading, parchment-based version of the Vatican's current site, were surprisingly Druso affairs, filled with theological jargon that would have made even the most devout yawn. However, it was his more informal, off-the-cuff remarks on his personal social media account, Chester Pontifex Maximus Stratur Twain the Treen, naturally, that truly captured the attention and the ire of the online world. His initial attempts at engaging with the masses were awkward. Pictures of him holding a rather unimpressed-looking cat were captioned with hashtags like "bless this furry friend papal blessings," slightly less holy than a thought, attempts at relatability that fell rather flat. He tried motivational quotes. Believe in yourself, even when your cardinals doubt you. Stay strong, papal motivation, dealing with cardinals. His efforts to appear contemporary were endearingly unsuccessful. The real entertainment, however, began with his digital squabbles. A particularly heated exchange with the Archbishop of Canterbury, a man who went by the handle Archbishop of Kant, was the stuff of medieval legend. It all started with a seemingly innocuous tweet from Greg. The Canterbury Tales? More like the Canterbury Tales of Woe. Their liturgical practices are frankly lacking. Liturgical fail, Canterbury needs help. This ignited a firestorm. Archbishop of Kant retorted with a flurry of tweets, accusing Greg of theological inaccuracies, questionable fiscal management, something about misplaced indulgences, and a truly egregious overuse of the hashtag papal perfection. The ensuing back and forth was a masterclass in digital pettiness, a clash of egos played out for the amusement of the entire medieval internet. Mentions flew like digital stones, each party rallying their supporters to their cause. The debate was so intense, it caused a temporary crash of the medieval internet, or at least what passed for it at the time. A wave of "I'm with Greg" or "Canterbury Forever" memes spread like wildfire across the various networks. The Pope's less than divine temperament was also on full display during a particularly embarrassing incident involving a stolen chalice. A series of increasingly frantic tweets from afar Pontifex Maximus, the renowned 2013, tracked the missing sacred vessel, each update escalating in drama and desperation. Missing holy chalice. Someone stole my chalice. This an emergency. The cardinal said it wasn't him, but it saw him. This is outrageous. The whole situation was made even more comical by Greg's repeated attempts to disguise his panic using various emojis, which he clearly did not fully understand. The hashtag papal panic became an instant trend, highlighting the unexpectedly relatable anxieties of even the most powerful religious figure. The chalice was eventually found under a cardinal's bed, leading to yet another round of online shaming. His interactions with the public were a source of constant amusement. One particularly memorable instance involved a monk who tweeted a detailed complaint about the quality of the papal provided wine. Pontifex Maximus Sprint the 313, Your Holiness, this vintage is simply undrinkable. I've tasted better grape juice. Papal wine fails, send help. Thirsty monk. Greg's response was surprisingly gracious. Thirsty monk. My apologies, brother. Apparently my sommelier has been excommunicated. A new shipment of superior vintage is on its way. New sommelier needed divine intervention. This exchange showed a surprising sense of humor and an ability to laugh at oneself, qualities not always associated with the papacy. Beyond his online spats, Greg also used his platform to address more serious matters, sometimes with questionable success. His attempts to explain complex theological concepts in simple tweets often led to misunderstandings and memes. A tweet attempting to clarify the doctrine of transubstantiation. It's bread and wine, it's not. It's magic bread and wine. Theology is hard, transubstantiation, help me, sparked a heated debate among theologians and armchair philosophers alike. Greg also faced criticism for his lavish lifestyle, which was often documented through social media posts by his disgruntled underlings and less than discreet members of the court. Pictures of opulent feasts, expensive fabrics, and lavish processions leaked onto the network. The resulting outcry fueled by the peasantry's own hard-scrabble digital narratives, forced Greg into a public apology, though some suggested that the apology was simply for getting caught. This episode showcased the potential for social media to challenge even the most established hierarchies. Yet, amidst the scandals, the petty feuds, and the occasional theological blunder, Greg's social media presence surprisingly fostered a strange kind of connection with the medieval world. His very human flaws, his impatience, his pettiness, his occasionally disastrous attempts at humor made him relatable, oddly charming even. He wasn't just a distant, infallible pope. He was a real person, grappling with the same issues of power, public image, and the occasional misplaced chalice as everyone else. This unexpected relatability, found in the midst of his digital misadventures, subtly challenged the traditional image of papal authority. Indeed, Gregory XIII's social media presence, though far from perfect, reflected the evolving relationship between the Church and its followers in a world increasingly shaped by new forms of communication. His clumsy, often humorous, engagement with the burgeoning digital space became a strangely compelling narrative, a testament to the persistence of human nature, even within the hallowed halls of the papacy. His story, riddled with online drama, became a part of the medieval tapestry, a colorful thread woven into the very fabric of the era's social and political landscape, reminding us that even popes, despite their lofty positions, are capable of making a good social media meltdown. The digital wildfire of the medieval era wasn't solely fueled by papal pronouncements and aristocratic squabbles. A vibrant counterculture flourished in the digital shadows, creating a fascinating tapestry of memes and viral sensations that reflected the anxieties, humor, and shared experiences of the time. These weren't the polished, professionally crafted memes we see today. These were raw, often crude depictions of life, created and shared with a delightful lack of sophistication. One particularly popular trend involved the parodying of religious iconography. Imagine, if you will, a depiction of the Virgin Mary, not holding the infant Jesus, but instead cradling a particularly plump goose. The caption, "Blessed Goose, Mary needs a snack, divine intervention." This irreverent take on sacred imagery speaks volumes about the underlying tensions between religious authority and the everyday concerns of the people. While outright blasphemy was still frowned upon, subtle subversions like these allowed for a degree of social commentary that might otherwise have been dangerous to express openly. The goose meme, in its various iterations, even spawned a whole series of what-if scenarios. The Virgin Mary wielding a surprisingly effective trebuchet, or Saint George slaying a dragon with a well-aimed frying pan. These images, shared across the medieval equivalent of social media, were simultaneously hilarious and thought-provoking, showcasing the ability of humor to challenge established norms. Another viral sensation revolved around the hardships of peasant life. We've already touched upon the medieval problems hashtag, but it's worth exploring its wider impact. This wasn't just a collection of complaints. It was a shared space of commiseration and solidarity. A particularly popular meme involved a picture of a peasant hunched over in a muddy field, accompanied by the caption, "When the landlord asks for more taxes, and you haven't even had breakfast. Medieval problems. Tax, slavery, send food. The simplicity of the image, paired with its intensely relatable sentiment, resonated profoundly with the medieval online community. It fostered a sense of shared experience, showing that even across vastly different socioeconomic strata, people struggled with remarkably similar problems. This sense of shared experience extended to the challenges of romance. Courtly love, that idealized and often unattainable notion of romantic pursuit, was frequently parodied in humorous memes. One particularly memorable meme featured a knight, his armor dented and clearly showing signs of battle, desperately trying to woo a lady by offering her a rather bruised and battered turnip. The caption, "Courtly love, my lady, is impressed, maybe definitely, not send wine." This light-hearted mockery of the sometimes absurd expectations of courtly love was surprisingly successful, indicating a willingness to laugh at romantic ideals and acknowledge the gap between idealized romance and lived experience. The memes, however, didn't solely focus on everyday struggles. They also tackled complex social and political issues. The relationship between the peasantry and the nobility was a recurring theme, often expressed through the use of satirical cartoons. One such meme depicted a nobleman riding a magnificent horse, while a peasant was painstakingly pulling a cart laden with the nobleman's belongings. The caption succinctly summarized the power dynamics: nobility problems, peasant life. Who needs a personal trainer? It's called a peasant. The humor in these depictions was often laced with a sharp edge of social commentary, underscoring the inequalities inherent within the medieval social structure. Beyond the memes, viral trends emerged that reflected broader cultural preoccupations. A game called the Black Death Challenge briefly took the medieval internet by storm. Thankfully, it wasn't nearly as dangerous as it sounds. The game involved creating virtual narratives around various scenarios during the plague, from the creative uses of plague doctor masks to the various coping mechanisms developed by communities during the pandemic. While the game certainly didn't trivialize the devastation of the Black Death, it allowed users to explore their fears and anxieties in a controlled digital environment, fostering a sense of community and shared experience during a time of immense suffering. Musical trends also captivated the online population. Medieval ballads and songs, often accompanied by rather crude yet engaging video clips, were shared and remixed with astonishing frequency. Popular tunes were adapted to reflect the current events, creating humorous or poignant commentary on political controversies or social injustices. This use of music as a form of social commentary was a clear precursor to modern music videos and social media songs, highlighting the enduring power of music to convey complex messages. However, not all trends were positive. A disturbing trend focusing on the persecution of witches and heretics gained traction amongst more radical elements of the online community. This darker side of medieval digital culture highlights the inherent risks of unregulated communication. Although the vast majority of online activity was harmless, the existence of such trends served as a grim reminder of the potential for misinformation and dangerous ideologies to spread rapidly through a digital network. This dark underbelly underscored the complex nature of this early medieval digital age. It wasn't just a series of funny pictures and catchy tunes. It was a reflection of the entire society, its joys, its anxieties, its struggles, and its capacity for both profound compassion and horrific cruelty. The memes, viral sensations, and online trends of this period offer a unique lens through which to examine the medieval world, reminding us that the human experience, with all its contradictions and complexities, has remained remarkably consistent through the ages. The technology may have changed, but the fundamental human need to connect, to share, to laugh, to complain, and even to cause a little online mischief that has remained an enduring constant. The digital footprint of medieval society, messy, unpredictable, and often hilarious, offers a valuable insight into the heart of the Middle Ages, proving that even then, everyone needed a good laugh and perhaps a decent viral sensation to get through the day. The seemingly simple act of sharing a meme became a powerful tool of social bonding, a reminder that even amidst the darkness and uncertainty of their world, these medieval users found solace and community within the nascent virtual spaces they were creating. The legacy of those seemingly simple digital interactions continues to echo, a testament to the enduring power of human connection. It makes one wonder what other hidden treasures of medieval digital culture await discovery, buried beneath layers of forgotten technology and the dust of centuries. The relative quiet following the Blessed Goose meme was shattered by a digital tempest brewing over a far more contentious issue, the relationship between faith and reason. It began, as many digital conflagrations do, with a seemingly innocuous post. Brother Thomas Aquinas, a surprisingly tech-savvy Dominican friar, shared a meticulously illustrated diagram of the cosmos, painstakingly rendered in vibrant pigments. The caption, a simple geocentric model truth God made the universe, seemed harmless enough. However, it ignited a firestorm of comments, many questioning the established geocentric model. A particularly outspoken commenter, identified only as Roger Bacon the Badass, countered with a link to a highly pixelated video showcasing his latest astronomical observations. This video, allegedly filmed using a surprisingly advanced early form of telescope, presented evidence suggesting a heliocentric model. The ensuing debate was epic, an explosion of theological arguments, scientific hypotheses, and plenty of witty insults thrown in for good measure. Brother Thomas's followers, predictably, defended the church's doctrine, arguing that Bacon's observations were heresy masked as science. Blasphemy! This is clearly the work of the devil, one user exclaimed, accompanied by a rather crude drawing of a horned demon wielding a telescope. Protect our faith, heresy hunter, get thee behind me, Satan. Others were more nuanced in their criticism, pointing out flaws in Bacon's methodology and questioning his reliance on empirical evidence. Bacon, however, was undeterred. He countered with a series of increasingly technical posts, citing his observations and explaining his theories, using what we might today call medieval infographics. These posts were remarkably clear, given the constraints of the time, using symbols and simple diagrams to present complex scientific concepts. He even created a series of interactive polls, asking his followers if they could feel the earth moving beneath their feet. The results were mixed, of course, While a significant number of people expressed skepticism, the support for Bacon's position steadily grew. The debate was not solely confined to the digital realm. The clash between these two worldviews spilled over into the physical world, with street preachers clashing with university professors and tavern discussions erupting into full-blown philosophical brawls. Medieval Twitter, however, provided a unique platform for this clash of ideologies, allowing for a degree of open debate unprecedented in its time, or at least in its physical equivalent. The debate also highlighted the limitations of the era's technology. Images and videos were prone to distortion, leading to misinterpretations and fueling the intensity of the conflict. The low bandwidth of the medieval internet meant that information spread slowly and unevenly, creating echo chambers where opposing viewpoints rarely met. Moreover, the inherent difficulties of scientific replication in this era created further challenges in settling the controversy. People relied heavily on the credibility of the source, leading to an unfortunate reliance on authority, whether religious or scientific. The debate wasn't simply a clash between blind faith and empirical observation. It was far more nuanced. Many participants, while defending the church's doctrines, still expressed a grudging respect for Bacon's intellectual curiosity and ingenuity. In fact, some even used their influence within the church to quietly fund Bacon's further research. It's a fascinating illustration of how even in times of intense religious fervor, the pursuit of knowledge found a way to flourish, albeit in a rather unorthodox manner. One particularly hilarious aspect of the debate involved the widespread use of memes. Brother Thomas's followers created a series of memes depicting Bacon as a bumbling fool, his telescope crooked, and his observations wildly inaccurate. Bacon, in turn, created memes that depicted the church as a dogmatic and out-of-touch institution, clinging to outmoded ideas. This back and forth of digital mockery lightened the mood, and in a way, helped to humanize the debate. It demonstrated that even amidst the fiercest ideological battles, the need for humor and levity persists. The geocentric vs. heliocentric debate also exposed the social dynamics at play within the medieval online community. The digital divide was apparent, with some users possessing access to better technology and resources than others. This led to imbalances in the flow of information, with certain viewpoints dominating the conversation. Furthermore, the debate highlighted the role of misinformation and propaganda in shaping public opinion. While most participants engaged in good faith discussions, there were also those who actively spread false or misleading information to support their respective sides. This manipulation of information, though crude by modern standards, serves as a chilling reminder of the ever-present potential for disinformation to cloud public discourse. This digital debate, however, wasn't solely about cosmology. It also revealed underlying tensions within the church itself. Some influential figures within the clergy saw Bacon's work as a potential threat to the church's authority, while others recognized the need for the church to adapt to the changing intellectual landscape. The debate, therefore, became a proxy for a broader internal struggle within the church, reflecting the complexities and contradictions of faith and reason coexisting within the same institution. The fallout from this great debate was far-reaching. It marked a turning point in the way science and religion were discussed and debated in the medieval world. While the geocentric model remained the official church doctrine, Bacon's work garnered increasing attention and eventually paved the way for future scientific advancements. Although the immediate effects of the online debate were chaotic and at times humorous, it was also profoundly impactful, showcasing the unprecedented power of digital media to mobilize public discourse, even in the heart of the Middle Ages. The conflict continued for many months, punctuated by more memes, passionate proclamations, and heated exchanges that echoed not only in the digital sphere, but also profoundly affected the social and political landscapes of the era. The medieval internet, in all its nascent glory, had become a battleground for ideas, forging a path for the future that would irreversibly alter the trajectory of scientific and religious thought. It was a messy, chaotic, and often hilarious fight, but one that ultimately shaped the future in ways that neither Brother Thomas nor Roger Bacon could have ever imagined. The echoes of their digital duel still resonate today, a reminder of the enduring struggle between faith and reason, and how that struggle has always been intertwined with the power of communication and technology, no matter how rudimentary the technology might be. Chapter 3: Love, Loss, and the Algorithmic Algorithm. The geocentric vs. heliocentric debate, while captivating, eventually faded from the digital forefront, replaced by a new wave of posts, this time focused on a topic far more relatable across the centuries: love, or rather, the frustrating, often hilarious, and always complicated pursuit of it. The medieval internet, it turned out, wasn't just a battleground for theological and scientific discourse. It was also the ultimate medieval dating app, albeit a rather clunky and inefficient one. Forget Tinder's sleek interface and sophisticated algorithms. Medieval dating relied on a series of nascent digital platforms, each with its own quirks and limitations. There was chivalry, a platform dedicated exclusively to knights and ladies of noble birth. Profiles consisted primarily of heraldic crests, boasts of past battles, and carefully crafted descriptions of lineage, wealth, and critically hunting skills. Finding a suitable match involved navigating a labyrinthine system of requests, endorsements, and of course, digital jousting matches where insults and witty retorts were as important as demonstrating prowess in arms. Successful suitors were often those who could craft the most eloquent and insulting verse, delivered naturally in Latin. Then there was peasant match, a far more egalitarian, relatively speaking, platform designed for the common folk. Profiles were less ornate, featuring basic information, occupations, and occasionally highly pixelated images of prized livestock. Success on peasant match largely depended on factors such as a demonstrably productive garden, a strong reputation for avoiding the plague, and the ability to craft compelling messages using the limited character count allowed by the quill and parchment interface. Catch of the day was a particularly popular feature, highlighting single peasants deemed worthy of extra attention based on their farming yields. The challenges of medieval dating apps were numerous. For starters, there was the issue of connectivity. The medieval internet, as we know, was notoriously unreliable. Messages could take weeks, sometimes months, to reach their recipients, leading to misunderstandings, lost connections, and the occasional digital ghosting. Furthermore, the limited bandwidth meant that images were usually low resolution or entirely absent, making it challenging to assess potential partners. Furthermore, there was a distinct lack of privacy. Messages were often sent through intermediaries, and the possibility of unauthorized access was quite high. This meant that romantic secrets were rarely safe, with gossips and spies eager to seize upon the slightest hint of a scandalous digital romance. And the spread of gossip, of course, was incredibly swift, far faster and more viral than even the most effective meme. Then there was the problem of confirmation bias. Profiles, often written by third parties, relying on family reputation and hearsay, frequently misrepresented the truth. A knight might boast of bravery when they were actually a notorious coward, while a peasant might exaggerate their crop yields to attract suitors. The ability to verify claims was severely limited, leading to a surprising number of digital disappointments. Indeed, breaking up in the medieval world required some serious digital diplomacy, often involving carefully crafted messages of dismissal delivered through multiple intermediaries to avoid physical confrontation. A particularly embarrassing or hastily drafted breakup missive could follow you online for years, potentially ruining your future chances at love. Despite its many challenges, these medieval dating platforms offered a unique window into the societal norms and expectations of the era. For example, one particularly popular feature on Chivalry was the Tournament of Hearts, a digital competition where knights could publicly demonstrate their skills and prowess to attract the attention of eligible ladies. The competition involved solving riddles, composing love poems, and answering complex questions of courtly etiquette, all while maintaining a carefully cultivated air of both nobility and effortless charm. The most successful competitors were frequently bombarded with digital marriage proposals, even those who didn't know how to send a message on the platform. Peasant Match demonstrated a different dynamic. Successful profiles were usually marked by testimonials from neighbors, indicating trustworthiness and a good work ethic, making it a much more community-focused dating experience. The emphasis wasn't solely on romance. It was on finding a life partner capable of contributing to the household and the community. This aspect reflected the practical realities of medieval life, where marriage was as much an economic arrangement as a romantic one. One particularly fascinating aspect of this medieval online dating world was the emergence of virtual courtship. Given the limitations of the technology, many relationships began digitally but developed slowly over time. Couples exchanged messages for months, sometimes years, before ever meeting in person, leading to an unprecedented level of emotional intimacy in the digital space. This was a novel concept, given that even among nobility, arranged marriages were common and rarely based on personal affection. Medieval dating apps essentially created the possibility of a new type of romantic relationship entirely. The popularity of these dating platforms also reflected the changing societal attitudes towards courtship and love. While arranged marriages were still common, there was a growing recognition of the importance of personal preference and romantic love, even within the strict social hierarchy of the medieval world. These dating apps, while imperfect, provided a platform for individuals to explore these changing sentiments. And as with any nascent social media platform, memes flourished. There were memes about the difficulties of finding a good match, the absurdity of medieval courtship rituals, and the perils of online dating in a time of unreliable connectivity and rampant gossip. One particularly popular meme depicted a knight's hopelessly romantic message to his beloved, delayed by a month due to a particularly stubborn mule carrying the digital missive. Another meme featured a peasant lamenting the lack of decent plumbing in their potential suitor's village, which proved to be a significant deal breaker. The digital landscape of medieval love, therefore, was a complex and often chaotic one, reflecting the social, economic, and technological realities of the era. It was a world of unreliable connectivity, limited privacy, and plenty of miscommunication. Yet, it also demonstrated the enduring human desire for connection and love, a need that transcended time, technology, and social standing. The medieval online dating world, in all its primitive glory, was a charmingly imperfect reflection of our own ongoing quest for romance in the digital age, reminding us that the struggle for love, like many other human experiences, is timeless. The echoes of these digital romances, though lost to the mists of time, or rather the unreliable servers of the medieval internet, still provide a humorous and insightful glimpse into the hearts and minds of medieval people, proving that love, loss, and the algorithms behind them are truly ageless phenomena. But the story of medieval love, like any good saga, doesn't end with the initial digital courtship. The inevitable breakups, often messy and dramatic, offer a fascinating glimpse into the emotional landscape of the time, a landscape surprisingly mirrored in our own modern social media dramas. Imagine the medieval equivalent of a public Twitter meltdown, only instead of 280 characters, it involved a meticulously crafted broadside circulated amongst the village or court, filled with accusations, recriminations, and the occasional thinly veiled threat of violence. The breakup posts on chivalry were often particularly brutal affairs. A scorned lady might publicly denounce her former suitor's lack of prowess in the bedroom, using cryptic allusions to unimpressive jousting skills that cleverly alluded to far less chivalrous shortcomings. Knights, in turn, would unleash torrents of insults, questioning the lady's lineage, the quality of her tapestry work, or her ability to properly care for hunting hounds. The ensuing digital feud could rage for weeks, escalating into a full-blown online war involving their respective families and loyal retainers. These virtual battles often spilled over into the real world, resulting in real-life duels, petty theft, and in at least one documented case, the poisoning of a rival's prize-winning boar. On Peasant Match, breakups were often less flamboyant, but no less emotionally charged. A jilted peasant might post a mournful ballad detailing their heartbreak, accompanied by a pixelated image of their withered garden, a potent symbol of their withering hopes. Or perhaps they'd publicly accuse their ex of theft, claiming their precious chickens had mysteriously disappeared after their relationship ended, causing an uproar among the community and launching a flurry of digital accusations and counter-accusations. The aftermath of such online spats could significantly impact reputation, making it difficult to secure future matches. The threat of social stigma in the medieval digital age could be surprisingly severe. Consider the case of Agnes of Ashton, a relatively successful user of Peasant Match. Agnes, a skilled weaver, boasted an impressive virtual profile, highlighting her exceptional skill in crafting tapestries. She had a robust online presence, filled with positive comments and testimonials from her neighbors, attesting to her work ethic and kind nature. She struck up a virtual relationship with Thomas, a promising blacksmith, seemingly a perfect match in terms of occupation and social standing. Their digital romance thrived for months. They exchanged messages filled with coded metaphors about strong looms and fiery forges, creating a virtual love story for the ages. However, their romance ultimately ended in flames, only instead of a burning passion, it was a digital inferno. The breakup commenced with a series of increasingly bitter messages. Thomas claimed Agnes's tapestries were of inferior quality, a claim that Agnes vehemently denied, launching a counterattack by posting images of her exceptionally detailed and vibrant works of art. Thomas countered by accusing Agnes of being a miserly weaver, only using the finest threads for herself. The subsequent arguments were so vitriolic, so filled with detailed accounts of each other's supposed shortcomings, that the rest of the village on Peasant Match became deeply involved in their public spat. Agnes's reputation, previously untarnished, suffered a serious blow. Her once impressive tapestry images, now overshadowed by the memes and insults generated by the breakup. The fallout extended beyond the digital realm. Thomas's comments influenced many in the village, causing some to reconsider ordering Agnes's tapestries. The gossip, fueled by the public nature of the breakup, caused a tangible impact on Agnes's livelihood. This illustrates a key difference between medieval and modern breakups. In the medieval context, the consequences were much more deeply embedded within the community structure. A virtual breakup wasn't just a personal matter. It impacted social standing, economic prospects, and even physical safety. The lack of privacy in medieval digital communication compounded the problems of breakups. Messages were often carried by messengers who could easily gossip about the contents, spreading rumors and exaggerations. The slow speed of communication further prolonged the drama, as it took time for responses to arrive and for the conflict to unfold. A simple, "I'm sorry" message could take weeks to reach its intended recipient, allowing the initial hurt and anger to fester into a full-blown digital war. Moreover, the absence of formal tools for blocking or deleting online content meant that the scars of a failed relationship could linger for years. Humiliating messages, once posted, were difficult to erase from the collective memory of the online community, leaving a lasting impact on the reputation of those involved. The concept of digital ghosting, while not explicitly defined, existed in the form of abruptly ceasing communication, leading to even more speculation and rumor mongering. However, the drama wasn't confined to failed relationships. Even successful courtships were frequently marked by tumultuous digital exchanges. Think of the equivalent of a modern-day couples fight on social media, only instead of passive-aggressive tweets, it might involve a digital exchange of insults disguised as elaborate poems, or a seemingly innocuous gardening post that subtly hints at the couple's ongoing domestic disagreements. These digital dramas, far from being mere entertainment, revealed crucial details about the social dynamics and power structures within both noble and peasant communities. The persistent theme throughout these digital breakups was the human element, the raw, unfiltered emotion that transcended time and technology. The heartbreak, the anger, the longing, the betrayal, these were sentiments as familiar to the medieval user of chivalry or peasant match as they are to today's Instagram user. The difference lay in the medium, the tools used to express these emotions, but the core feelings remained universally human. Indeed, studying these digital breakups provides a valuable insight into the medieval psyche, showing how people coped with rejection, disappointment, and the complexities of love and loss. It reveals a surprising degree of emotional self-awareness, a willingness to expose personal vulnerabilities, even in the limited and sometimes unreliable context of the medieval digital world. And while the technology was rudimentary, the human drama unfolding within it was remarkably sophisticated and at times surprisingly relatable. The echoes of these digital romances, though lost to the mists of time, or rather, the unreliable servers of the medieval internet, still provide a humorous and insightful glimpse into the hearts and minds of medieval people, proving that love, loss, and the algorithms, or lack thereof, behind them are truly ageless phenomena. The medieval online world, in its charmingly imperfect way, offers a compelling parallel to our own experiences with love, loss, and the sometimes messy reality of digital relationships, reminding us that some things, like heartbreak, never go out of style. The only difference is the medium of expression. The drama, however, remains eternally human, but the digital drama of medieval life extended far beyond romantic entanglements. The very fabric of social interaction, the intricate tapestry of relationships within the village or court, was woven with threads of gossip and rumor, a phenomenon mirroring the spread of misinformation on today's social media platforms. In this pre-internet era, the speed of information dissemination might have been slower, but its impact was no less profound, often shaping reputations and influencing social hierarchies. Imagine a blacksmith, perhaps a less than skilled craftsman, whose latest work, a wobbly stool for the village elder, became the subject of online ridicule on Peasant Match. This digital shaming, spread through whispered messages and hastily drawn cartoons shared between users, could swiftly damage his reputation. The ensuing wave of negativity, akin to a modern-day online pile-on, could affect his livelihood, making it difficult to attract new customers and potentially impacting his social standing within the village community. His digital footprint, though far less sophisticated than our modern equivalents, held significant power, capable of both building and destroying reputations. This was amplified within the courtly circles of chivalry, where the stakes were higher and the consequences far more severe. A whispered rumor about a lord's infidelity, shared through encrypted messages and delivered by trusted messengers, could topple a noble family, sparking political intrigue and potentially resulting in armed conflict. The lack of fact-checking, the inherent bias within narratives, and the amplification of falsehoods all resonated with the dynamics of modern social media echo chambers. A carefully crafted lie, subtly spread across the network of digital courtiers, could create a powerful storm of discord and suspicion. Consider the case of Lord Elmsworth, a relatively well-liked nobleman on chivalry. His popularity stemmed from his frequent posts about his hunting exploits and his generous donations to the local monastery. However, a rival lord, envious of Elmsworth's online popularity, started a subtle campaign of disinformation. He anonymously posted cryptic messages suggesting Elmsworth's generosity was merely a ploy to garner favor, hinting at secret alliances with foreign powers and suggesting that the hunting trophies were far less impressive than they appeared. The subtle yet effective nature of this disinformation campaign mirrored the techniques of modern-day trolls and smear campaigns. The messages were vague enough to be plausible, but suggestive enough to arouse suspicion. They didn't explicitly accuse Elmsworth of wrongdoing, but they cast doubt on his motives, subtly undermining his carefully crafted online image. The rumors, carried by messengers and whispered in hushed tones, quickly spread across the courtly network, causing a rift between Elmsworth and some of his allies. The power dynamic at play is strikingly familiar to modern social media culture. A more powerful individual, in this case, the rival lord, leveraged the tools of digital communication to create uncertainty and manipulate public perception. The lack of accountability, the anonymity of the platform, allowed the rival lord to operate with impunity, using the medieval equivalent of fake news to damage Elmsworth's reputation and potentially weaken his influence. Elmsworth, despite his attempts to refute the accusations, struggled to counter the narrative, facing the uphill battle of clearing his name against a carefully crafted web of lies. The consequences were substantial. Elmsworth's reputation suffered a serious blow, leading to a decrease in support from his allies and impacting his political standing. His once robust online presence was now tainted by suspicion and doubt, a virtual stain that proved difficult to remove. The incident highlights the vulnerability of even powerful individuals to well-orchestrated campaigns of disinformation, even in the seemingly simple digital landscape of the medieval period. The medieval online world, in all its simplistic charm, demonstrates the enduring power of misinformation and the devastating consequences of unchecked rumor-mongering. The spread of gossip was also influenced by the inherent biases and social hierarchies of medieval society. Information tended to flow down from the elite to the lower classes, often heavily filtered and distorted along the way. Peasants were particularly vulnerable to manipulative narratives spread by those in power, stories used to maintain social control and to stifle dissent. A lord might spread rumors about a rebellious peasant, exaggerating the severity of their actions to discourage further challenges to the established order. Conversely, rumors could also flow upwards, although this was often more challenging and risky. Peasants might whisper tales of injustice or oppression, trying to gain attention and prompt some form of change. However, these narratives were often easily suppressed by the authorities who held the power to control communication channels. The digital landscape of the medieval era, while not as technically advanced as today's social media, still reflected the power imbalances of the time, with those in positions of power wielding disproportionate influence over information flow. Furthermore, The lack of reliable fact-checking mechanisms contributed to the rapid spread of falsehoods. With no dedicated media outlets or independent verification sources, rumors thrived in the absence of objective truth. The medieval online world, in a sense, was a vast, unregulated space where disinformation proliferated freely, shaping perceptions and influencing social dynamics. This echoes the challenges we face today in the age of fake news and the spread of misinformation through social media, highlighting the timeless struggle for information control and the need for critical thinking. The consequences of these digital falsehoods were not merely intangible, they had very real consequences for people's lives. A false accusation of theft could lead to imprisonment or even execution. A rumor about someone's involvement in witchcraft could result in social ostracism and violence. The damage caused by misinformation in this era was not only reputational, it often had tangible physical consequences. This echoes the phenomena we see in modern social media, where online bullying and harassment can lead to serious mental health consequences, and the spread of misinformation can have real-world consequences, such as election interference or the promotions of harmful health practices. The crucial difference lies in the mechanisms of dissemination, whispered words versus carefully crafted algorithms. But the core principle remains the same. Misinformation, once unleashed, can wreak havoc on the lives of individuals and communities. The medieval social media landscape, despite its rudimentary nature, offered a fascinating and sometimes terrifying glimpse into the power of rumors and gossip. It highlights how easily misinformation can spread, regardless of the technology employed, and how profoundly it can shape individual lives and societal structures. The spread of gossip, the manipulation of narratives, the vulnerability of individuals to disinformation, these are timeless challenges that continue to resonate in our own digital age. The medieval digital world, though quaint in its primitive technology, shows us that some things, like the power of a well-placed rumor, never truly go out of style. The only difference is the method of delivery. The human impact remains profoundly similar. The history of rumor and the spread of false narratives serves as a potent reminder of the responsibility that comes with the power to communicate, whether it is through a whispered word, a hand-delivered message, or a carefully crafted tweet. But the digital echoes of medieval life weren't solely confined to the realm of political maneuvering and social climbing. Love, that potent elixir capable of both inspiring epic poetry and igniting bitter feuds, also found its expression and its complications within the digital tapestry of the era. Medieval weddings, lavish affairs, often steeped in political strategy, as much as romantic ideals, provide a particularly fascinating lens through which to examine this intersection of ancient customs and nascent social media. Imagine, if you will, the wedding of Lady Isolde, daughter of the Earl of Cornwall, to Sir Gareth, a knight renowned for both his prowess in jousting tournaments and his prolific use of chivalry, the medieval equivalent of Twitter. The preparations alone would have generated a storm of digital activity. Tailors posting updates on Isolde's wedding gown, royal wedding dress, boasting of the intricate embroidery and the imported silks. Caterers meticulously documenting the menu, highlighting the exotic spices and the roasted boar medieval feast. Musicians showcasing their practice sessions, anticipating their performance at the grand celebration, courtly music. The event hashtag Isolde and Gareth trended for weeks leading up to the ceremony. The day itself would have been a whirlwind of digital updates. Sir Gareth's arrival, impeccably dressed in shining armor, captured and instantly shared on chivalry, along with commentary on the magnificence of his steed. Pictures of the wedding procession, the vibrant colors of the banners, and the crowds lining the streets would have been rapidly disseminated across the various digital platforms. Meanwhile, Peasant Match, the social network primarily utilized by the common folk, would have been buzzing with less polished but equally enthusiastic accounts of the spectacle, interspersed with jokes about the exorbitant cost of the festivities and speculations on the wedding feast. However, the digital narrative wasn't solely confined to celebratory posts. The wedding, after all, was a significant political event, a carefully orchestrated union designed to consolidate power and forge alliances. Consequently, the digital sphere was rife with whispered rumors and veiled insinuations, echoing the political intrigues that often accompanied such grand occasions. Anonymous accounts on chivalry hinted at secret deals made between the two families, at promises exchanged and obligations incurred. These posts, cryptic and carefully worded, created a sense of underlying tension, a subtle counterpoint to the outwardly joyous celebrations. Consider the case of Lady Guinevere, a distant cousin of Lady Isolde, who openly voiced her displeasure on chivalry about the union, claiming Sir Gareth was unsuitable for Lady Isolde. Her posts, while polite on the surface, subtly hinted at Sir Gareth's perceived shortcomings, raising questions about his lineage, hinting at dubious past dealings, and suggesting potential infidelity. Her meticulously crafted critique mirrored the sophisticated trolling techniques employed by modern online influencers, capable of influencing public perception and swaying opinion. Her comments prompted a furious response from Sir Gareth's supporters, launching a virtual counterattack. Pro-Gareth accounts shared anecdotes about his bravery on the battlefield, highlighting his noble deeds and his generous contributions to the church. The resulting debate raged across chivalry, dividing users into fiercely opposed factions and mirroring the factionalism often observed in medieval court politics. The entire digital engagement mirrored a contemporary online flame war, revealing the human capacity for fierce argument and deep-seated loyalty, even across millennia. Beyond the high-profile digital drama of the noble classes, the wedding also resonated through the less prominent but equally impactful channels of communication available to the common folk. Consider the village gossip mill, in this case, the Peasant Match Forum dedicated to the Earl of Cornwall's manor. Here, the discussions veered more toward practical concerns, the influx of traveling merchants, the potential disruption to the daily routine, the sheer volume of food consumed during the festivities. A particularly lively thread debated the impact of the wedding on local resources. Some users lamented the strain on the supply chain, highlighting the scarcity of certain foodstuffs in the lead up to the event. Others excitedly discussed the opportunity to supplement their income by selling souvenirs, such as hastily crafted wooden dolls or embroidered handkerchiefs to the visiting nobility. This thread showed a remarkable blend of practicality and entrepreneurial spirit, showcasing the resilience and adaptability of the medieval peasant class in the face of grand societal events. One particularly observant user, commenting anonymously, posted detailed analysis of the wedding's financial implications, calculating the estimated cost of various elements based on their available knowledge of market prices. Their detailed breakdown served as a rudimentary form of economic analysis, hinting at the underlying tensions between the elite and the peasantry within a feudal society. The social media activity surrounding Lady Isolde and Sir Gareth's wedding extended beyond the immediate time frame of the event itself. For months afterward, chivalry buzzed with updates on the newlyweds' life together, ranging from descriptions of their lavish honeymoon to comments on their attempts to navigate the complexities of courtly life. Peasant Match, meanwhile, continued to offer a unique perspective, focusing on the long-term impacts of the wedding on the local community, from the lingering economic benefits to the enduring local legends that grew around the event. Furthermore, the wedding itself served as a potent symbol of the enduring power dynamics within medieval society. The lavish display of wealth, the meticulously orchestrated ceremony, and the overwhelming digital attention all served to reinforce the social hierarchy, emphasizing the stark contrast between the lives of the nobility and the peasantry. The digital accounts, while celebratory in tone, inadvertently highlighted this disparity, showcasing how even the most joyous occasions could reflect the broader societal structures. The online discourse surrounding the wedding also highlighted the pervasive influence of gender roles within medieval society. Lady Isolde's role was largely defined by her status as a bride, her digital presence largely shaped by her impending marriage. Her social media interactions were largely centered on the wedding preparations, with little mention of her personal aspirations or achievements outside of her marital status. This mirrored the limited opportunities available to women in medieval society, highlighting how even in the realm of social media, the dominant narratives often reinforced traditional gender norms. In contrast, Sir Gareth's digital presence was much broader, reflecting the greater freedom and power afforded to men within the social and political landscape. His posts covered a wider range of subjects, encompassing his military achievements, his political affiliations, and his personal interests. This contrast serves as a striking reminder of the gender inequalities inherent in medieval society, inequalities that were reflected, albeit subtly, in the digital interactions surrounding this historical event. This detailed account of a medieval wedding, as viewed through the lens of our imagined medieval social media, offers a richer and more nuanced understanding of the period. It moves beyond the simplified narratives often presented in traditional historical accounts, revealing the complex interplay of social, political, and economic factors that shaped life in the Middle Ages. By blending historical accuracy with a modern sensibility, we can gain a new appreciation for the universality of human experience, highlighting the enduring relevance of past events to our own lives. The digital echoes of these medieval weddings, though expressed through primitive technology, resonate with the contemporary anxieties and celebrations we share today, reminding us that while the tools may change, the human story remains consistently compelling. The digital echoes of the Isolde and Gareth wedding reverberated far beyond the immediate celebrations, triggering a cascade of family feuds that played out across the medieval social media landscape. The seemingly idyllic union masked a complex tapestry of long-standing rivalries and simmering resentments, all amplified by the immediacy and reach of the nascent digital platforms. The House of Lancaster, a family with a long history of contentious relationships, found itself embroiled in a particularly vicious online brawl. Lady Beatrice Lancaster, a distant relative of Isolde, took to chivalry to express her dissatisfaction with the perceived slight her family had endured during the wedding festivities. Her posts, a masterclass in passive-aggressive social media maneuvering, subtly implied that the Lancasters' contributions to the wedding had been undervalued and their historical significance overlooked. She posted a series of seemingly innocuous images: a faded tapestry depicting a Lancaster ancestor alongside a king, a close-up of a family crest subtly juxtaposed with the more prominent Gareth family emblem, and even a meticulously detailed recipe for a traditional Lancaster family dish, clearly superior, she implied, to the fare served at the wedding banquet. This subtle campaign of digital undermining ignited a furious response from the supporters of the House of York, the family allied with the Gareths. Pro-York accounts responded with carefully curated posts of their own, highlighting the Yorks' long and illustrious history of military victories and political influence, juxtaposing images of gleaming York armor with rather blurry photographs of Lancaster battle casualties. The ensuing chivalry debate, fueled by barbed comments and strategically deployed hashtags, quickly escalated into a full-blown digital war, mirroring historical conflicts between these powerful families. The hashtag Lancaster Lies became a trending topic, prompting a furious backlash from the Lancasters, who unleashed their own wave of counter-propaganda, using ancient family legends and meticulously researched historical documents to support their claims. Meanwhile, on Peasant Match, the impact of the aristocratic feud spilled over into the lives of ordinary people. The wedding festivities had brought a surge of economic activity to the local communities, but the escalating online conflict threatened to undermine this fragile prosperity. Many villagers, already struggling to make ends meet, found themselves caught in the crossfire. Posts detailing the disruption to trade routes and the scarcity of certain goods previously attributed to the wedding's demands now were blamed on the wasteful squabbles of the nobility. Anonymous posts even suggested that the feud was diverting resources from essential infrastructure projects, inflaming resentment against the elite. One particularly poignant thread detailed the plight of a local weaver whose livelihood depended on supplying fabric for the nobility. The conflict between the Lancasters and Yorks had paralyzed their orders, leaving the weaver with a large stock of unsold goods and a family on the brink of starvation. The weaver's desperate plea for assistance, along with photos of their half-finished fabrics, garnered a wave of sympathy and support from other users. This highlighted the real-world consequences of the aristocratic feud, revealing how even seemingly trivial online conflicts could have profound impacts on the lives of ordinary people. The feud also extended into the realm of family gossip and scandal, with anonymous accounts on both chivalry and peasant match, spreading unverified rumors and salacious details about various members of both families. Posts detailing alleged infidelities, illicit affairs, and hidden debts circulated like wildfire, fueled by speculation and fueled by the anonymity provided by the social media platforms. These posts, while difficult to verify, significantly damaged the reputation of several prominent individuals, revealing the profound impact that social media could have on personal lives and public image, even in the supposedly simpler times of the medieval period. The conflict within the House of Lancaster itself was particularly compelling. The elder matriarch, Lady Eleanor, a woman renowned for her sharp wit and ruthless ambition, engaged in a highly public clash with her rebellious younger son, Lord Edmund. Their conflict, which had long simmered beneath the surface, exploded onto chivalry as Edmund publicly challenged his mother's authority. His posts, characterized by youthful arrogance and a disregard for tradition, contrasted sharply with his mother's meticulously crafted responses, a testament to her superior digital media savvy. The digital duel between the mother and son revealed the underlying tensions within the family, the battle for power and influence, and the lengths individuals were willing to go to maintain their status. This online confrontation quickly escalated into a full-scale family war, dividing loyalties and exposing long-held resentments. Younger members of the Lancaster family took sides, using the platform to voice their support for either Lady Eleanor or Lord Edmund. The resulting chaos mirrored the political machinations of the real medieval world, with alliances shifting, betrayals surfacing, and promises being broken, all played out in the digital arena. Moreover, the dispute highlighted the role of family honor and reputation in medieval society. Every post, every comment, every carefully chosen image served as a piece in a larger game of maintaining or damaging reputations. The digital attacks were not merely personal insults. They were carefully calculated strategies aimed at undermining the social standing of rival family members, reflecting the importance of social prestige in the medieval hierarchy. Lady Eleanor, in particular, employed a sophisticated blend of traditional aristocratic maneuvering and modern social media tactics to preserve her authority and reputation. Her posts, crafted with an eye for detail and a keen understanding of medieval courtly etiquette, subtly ridiculed Lord Edmund's claims, questioning his competence and hinting at his potential illegitimacy. This subtle yet potent combination of wit and calculated provocation effectively countered Edmund's aggressive tactics. The ensuing battle revealed how the digital platforms could amplify existing tensions, transforming family feuds into high-stakes conflicts with far-reaching consequences. The impact of this digital family feud extended far beyond the immediate participants, influencing the political landscape and shaping alliances throughout the kingdom. The online conflict mirrored the reality of medieval politics, revealing the fragility of alliances and the ever-present threat of treachery. The digital echo of this familial discord resonated across the land, showcasing how even seemingly private struggles within the medieval elite could have far-reaching and profound implications for the entire kingdom. The story of the Lancasters and Yorks and the myriad of smaller family disputes played out on chivalry and peasant match, provides a fascinating glimpse into the intersection of ancient traditions and nascent digital technologies. It reveals that even in a world without tweets, retweets, or hashtags, the core components of human drama, ambition, betrayal, rivalry, and the desperate need for validation, remain unchanged. The digital platforms merely provided a new and amplified stage for these ancient conflicts to unfold, leaving a lasting digital footprint on the medieval world. These digital echoes, preserved across time, serve as a potent reminder of the enduring human capacity for both love and conflict, and the surprising universality of family drama across centuries. Chapter 4: Legacy of the Medieval Internet. The reverberations of the Lancaster-York feud, a digital tempest in a medieval teapot, continued to shape the social landscape for generations. The memes born from this conflict, a hastily drawn caricature of Lady Eleanor wielding a quill like a sword, captioned Queen of the Roast, or a manipulated image of Lord Edmund sporting ridiculously oversized spectacles alongside the hashtag Epic Fail, became iconic symbols of the era. These images, initially circulated within the narrow confines of chivalry and peasant match, quickly transcended their origin, migrating to other platforms and spreading like wildfire through the oral tradition, transforming into hand-drawn copies, embroidered tapestries, and even stained glass windows depicting the various digital battles. The Lancaster Lies meme, particularly potent in its simplicity and accusatory power, became a shorthand for any perceived falsehood, its legacy echoing in later courtly disputes and popular songs. The enduring popularity of these memes reveals a fascinating truth about medieval society. Their capacity for humor, satire, and the repurposing of information was far more sophisticated than often portrayed. The memes weren't just fleeting moments of online amusement. They reflected deeper anxieties, power dynamics, and social tensions. The sheer longevity of these images suggests that these digital artifacts, unlike many ephemeral digital trends of our own time, possessed a compelling narrative resonance that transcended the initial context of their creation. They served as cultural touchstones, reminding subsequent generations of the fierce rivalries and complex relationships that characterized the medieval aristocracy. The impact wasn't confined to the upper echelons of society. The digital discourse surrounding the feud had profoundly impacted the vernacular culture, influencing everything from folk songs to the design of everyday objects. Peasant artisans, inspired by the digital imagery, incorporated elements of the memes into their crafts, weaving images of the Lancaster crest into textiles and carving caricatures of the warring parties into wood. These physical manifestations of the memes, born from the digital world, became a vital part of the everyday life, blurring the lines between high and low culture in a way that speaks volumes about the pervasiveness of social media's influence, even in its most nascent form. The Peasant Match platform, initially conceived as a dating app, inadvertently became a significant forum for social and economic commentary. The frustrations of the peasantry, initially voiced as complaints about the impact of the aristocratic feud on local economies, evolved into a powerful movement for social change. The image of the struggling weaver, initially posted as a desperate plea, became a powerful symbol of the economic disparities within medieval society, fueling broader discussions about fair trade and the distribution of wealth. This shift highlights a critical aspect of medieval social media: its ability to amplify the voices of the marginalized, providing them with a platform to express their grievances and mobilize collective action. Interestingly, the memes that emerged from this period weren't always negative. Some captured the lighter side of medieval life, creating a lasting legacy of playful imagery. A particularly memorable example involved a series of images depicting the daily struggles of medieval life. A knight valiantly battling a particularly stubborn goose wars, a peasant attempting to fix a leaky roof in a torrential downpour, medieval plumbing fail, and a king struggling to decipher the latest tax reports, royal headache. These memes, though satirical, offered a glimpse into the everyday concerns of ordinary people, highlighting the universality of human experience across time periods. The impact of these lighter memes was significant. They showcased a capacity for self-deprecation and humor that humanized the often distant figures of authority. They softened the often harsh and grim perception of medieval life, providing a balance to the more serious narratives. They also created a sense of collective identity, connecting individuals across social strata through shared experiences and a common sense of humor. The widespread use of these memes contributed to a vibrant and dynamic cultural landscape, shaping the way medieval people perceived themselves and their world. Furthermore, the legacy of these medieval memes extended beyond the immediate social context. They became a source of inspiration for later generations of artists, writers, and artisans. The artistic styles and visual motifs that were developed during this era, partly influenced by the visual language of digital memes, continued to inspire creative expression for centuries. Tapestries, illuminated manuscripts, and even architectural designs show a clear influence of the visual language, first introduced through medieval social media platforms. The phenomenon of medieval memes also offers a unique perspective on the evolution of language. The hashtags, initially functional tools for organization and categorization, evolved into a form of linguistic shorthand, influencing the spoken and written word. The rapid adoption of these hashtags and their concise and impactful nature points to a broader societal shift towards efficient communication, a preference for brevity and directness that echoes even in the modern age. The use of hashtags reflects the inherent human desire for efficient communication, regardless of the technological infrastructure available. The study of these medieval memes provides a fascinating glimpse into the power of visual communication. The use of images, often accompanied by simple text-based captions, proved to be incredibly effective in conveying complex ideas and emotions, transcending linguistic barriers and reaching a wide audience. The enduring legacy of these images highlights the timeless power of visual storytelling, a form of communication that transcends historical and cultural boundaries. The impact of these visual narratives reinforces the fundamental human need for visual cues and their remarkable effectiveness in communicating complex emotions and ideas. Beyond the visual aspect, the spread of these memes underscores the enduring importance of social connection. The act of sharing, commenting, and responding to these memes created a sense of community and belonging, reflecting the fundamental human need for social interaction. The ability of these digital platforms to foster this social connection, even in the context of interfamilial disputes, suggests that the desire for connection and shared experience remains timeless. Even in a context radically different from our own, the core human need to connect and share remains unchanged. The analysis of these medieval memes also forces us to reconsider our understanding of historical continuity and change. The remarkable similarities between the dynamics of medieval social media and contemporary online culture suggest that human behavior and social dynamics remain remarkably consistent across time. The enduring patterns of online conflict, the creation and dissemination of memes, and the power of viral trends underscore the continuity of human nature across vastly different technological environments. The parallels between medieval and modern digital spaces reveal a shared human experience. The same needs, desires, and flaws manifested in different forms across the centuries. This unexpected echo across the centuries profoundly challenges any assumptions of a radical break between the past and the present. In conclusion, the long tail of medieval memes provides a valuable lens through which to examine the enduring legacy of medieval social media. These digital artifacts, once ephemeral expressions of online interaction, became embedded within the cultural fabric of the era, influencing language, art, and social relations. Their lasting impact underscores the remarkable ability of digital culture to shape the course of history, leaving an indelible mark on subsequent generations. The memes, in their enduring popularity and lasting impact, highlight the remarkable consistency of human nature, revealing that the fundamental human drives for connection, conflict, and creative expression remain constant across vast stretches of time and revolutionary changes in technology. The medieval internet, though vastly different in form from its modern counterpart, revealed the same core human tendencies, a testament to the enduring power of human connection and the timeless nature of human drama. The echoes of medieval digital life resonate far beyond the immediate context of their creation. The sheer volume of information exchanged, the rapid dissemination of news, or more accurately, news, and the unexpected ways in which individuals navigated these nascent digital platforms offer profound insights into the enduring human condition. We see reflected in these medieval social media interactions the same anxieties, desires, and vulnerabilities that drive us today. The yearning for validation, the need for community, the hunger for connection, these are not unique to the age of smartphones and algorithms. They are as old as humanity itself, and the medieval internet, in its peculiar form, provides a fascinating case study. Consider, for example, the surprisingly modern phenomenon of viral shaming. While lacking the instantaneous reach of a modern Twitter storm, the medieval equivalent involved the swift dissemination of embarrassing anecdotes or scandalous rumors through the scribal networks. Essentially, the medieval equivalent of a rapidly spreading chain email, a poorly executed joust, a misplaced royal decree, even a particularly unfortunate incident involving a goose and a royal dignitary. These could all become the subject of widespread ridicule creating a form of social pressure akin to today's online shaming. The consequences, though less immediate, were arguably just as impactful. Social ostracization, damaged reputations, even political repercussions. This reveals a timeless aspect of human behavior, the desire for social control and the wielding of social power, whether through a whispered word or a viral tweet. Furthermore, the medieval digital landscape wasn't solely a breeding ground for negativity. The development of artisan guilds online, functioning as professional networking sites, showcased a surprising degree of collaboration and skill sharing. These online communities, while constrained by the limitations of the technology, facilitated the exchange of ideas, techniques, and best practices amongst craftspeople, contributing to advancements in various trades. This digital collaboration fostered not only economic progress, but also a sense of community and mutual support, highlighting the enduring human capacity for collaboration even in the face of technological limitations. This aspect of medieval digital life prefigures the modern collaborative platforms, demonstrating that the basic human need to connect and share knowledge has remained remarkably consistent throughout history. The role of religious institutions in shaping the digital landscape also offers a compelling perspective. The Church naturally attempted to exert its influence, using digital platforms to disseminate religious doctrines, organize pilgrimages, and even engage in theological debates. The monastic message boards, carefully monitored by the clergy, offered a platform for religious instruction and moral guidance. However, these digital spaces also became venues for dissent and debate, illustrating the enduring tension between religious authority and individual conscience. The online discussions, though limited by the technology, reflected a remarkably modern struggle between faith, doubt, and the freedom of expression, underlining the continuous tension between societal control and individual liberty. The medieval internet, therefore, wasn't a monolithic entity controlled by a single power structure, but a dynamic space where various actors engaged in complex interactions. The limitations of medieval technology also provide a valuable lens through which to examine the evolution of digital communication. The slow pace of information transmission, compared to the immediacy of modern internet, fostered a more deliberate and thoughtful approach to digital interaction. Messages were carefully crafted, reflecting a greater degree of consideration and responsibility, perhaps mitigating the impulsive responses and online toxicity often observed in modern online spaces. This slower pace of digital communication enforced a level of mindful engagement, forcing users to prioritize the quality of communication over the speed of information dissemination, underscoring the value of measured reflection in online discourse. The analog amplification of digital memes through physical forms, tapestries, illuminated manuscripts, even architectural designs, offers a unique perspective on the interplay between digital and physical culture. These physical manifestations of digital trends, effectively translating digital information into tangible forms, demonstrates the enduring power of visual communication and the human desire to make the ephemeral permanent. This highlights a fundamental aspect of digital culture, irrespective of the technology used: the tendency to translate online interactions and experiences into the physical world. A viral trend today might be seen in a social media post, in a meme, in a trending hashtag, but it can also be seen manifested in shopping malls, physical events, social movements, and fashion trends. The study of medieval social media also sheds light on the evolution of privacy and anonymity. While concepts like data privacy were obviously absent, the inherent limitations of the technology, the absence of personal profiles, the reliance on trusted messengers, and the geographical constraints of network created a level of implicit privacy. The absence of pervasive surveillance, which characterizes modern online environments, fostered a certain sense of anonymity that enabled individuals to express themselves more freely without the constant fear of digital scrutiny. This implicit privacy contrasts sharply with modern data collection and online surveillance, highlighting the evolving relationship between technology, privacy, and individual autonomy. Moreover, the medieval digital landscape offers a valuable case study in the dynamics of information control and censorship. Religious institutions, royal courts, and powerful families all attempted to manipulate the flow of information, controlling narratives, and suppressing dissent. The inherent challenges of controlling information dissemination in the medieval context provides a fascinating parallel to contemporary debates about internet censorship, freedom of expression, and the challenges of managing information in digital environments. The inherent tensions between information control and freedom of speech were far from unique to modern society. Finally, the enduring legacy of medieval social media compels us to reassess our relationship with technology. The ease and immediacy of modern internet, while offering remarkable connectivity, has also brought about unforeseen challenges: online harassment, information overload, and echo chambers. The slower, more deliberate pace of medieval digital interactions, while not without its limitations, provides a counterpoint to our hyper-connected world, reminding us of the value of thoughtful communication and the importance of balancing the advantages of rapid information exchange with the preservation of meaningful human interaction. The medieval internet might not have had the speed or sophistication of our own, but it offers a valuable reminder of the potential pitfalls of unchecked technological advancement and the enduring importance of human connection. The parallels between the medieval and modern experiences underline the timeless nature of human interaction and the need to approach the digital world with both optimism and caution, and a profound awareness of the human impact on and the human cost of technological progress. The shimmering lance, the thunder of hooves on the tourney field, the hushed awe of the assembled court, these were the medieval equivalents of a viral video, carefully orchestrated spectacles designed to capture attention and solidify reputation. A successful joust wasn't just a display of skill, it was a meticulously crafted performance, a carefully curated piece of content designed to generate admiration, envy, and perhaps a little fear. The knight, decked out in gleaming armor, wasn't merely a warrior. He was a brand, meticulously crafting his image to attract sponsors, powerful lords, generate followers, loyal retainers, and admiring ladies, and ultimately achieve dominance, winning the tournament in the hand of a princess. This echoes the modern influencer culture, where carefully crafted images and videos are strategically deployed across various social media platforms to garner likes, followers, and ultimately lucrative brand deals. Consider the elaborate tournaments themselves. These weren't just random clashes, they were meticulously planned events, complete with elaborate pageantry, meticulously choreographed displays of skill, and a carefully controlled narrative designed to maximize impact. Think of them as medieval versions of the Super Bowl, the Oscars, or even a highly produced music festival, grand spectacles designed to capture the collective attention of the populace and solidify the reputations of the participants. The winners, basking in the glory of their victories, were the equivalent of today's celebrity athletes, their names and accomplishments meticulously recorded and celebrated in chronicles that function as a medieval form of Hall of Fame. The losers, well, they learned a valuable lesson about the importance of effective content strategy. The parallels extend beyond the battlefield. Medieval royalty, much like modern celebrities, employed various strategies to maintain their public image and secure their place in the spotlight. Royal decrees, proclamations, and then even architectural marvels served as sophisticated forms of self-promotion. A magnificent castle wasn't just a defensive structure, it was a potent symbol of power and prestige, a carefully crafted piece of content designed to inspire awe and loyalty. Similarly, lavish court ceremonies, meticulously designed to display wealth and power, served as elaborate public relations exercises designed to cement the monarch's authority and garner the admiration of their subjects. Think of it as the medieval equivalent of a royal wedding broadcast globally, a lavish display meant to capture and maintain public interest. Even the seemingly mundane aspects of medieval life served as opportunities for attention-seeking. Consider the elaborate clothing worn by the upper classes, the vibrant colors, the expensive fabrics, the intricate embroidery. These weren't simply garments. They were wearable advertisements, status symbols that broadcast wealth and social standing to all who beheld them. These displays of material wealth directly mirror the contemporary obsession with designer labels and luxury brands, used as tools to convey social status and aspirations. The church, too, understood the power of attention-grabbing narratives. The construction of magnificent cathedrals, the creation of awe-inspiring religious art, and the carefully crafted narratives of saints and miracles. These were all strategically employed to engage the populace, inspire devotion, and ultimately enhance the church's influence. The elaborate rituals, the dramatic sermons, even the carefully orchestrated displays of religious power were all designed to capture the public's imagination, ensuring the church's message held prominence within the medieval digital ecosystem. Think of it as the medieval equivalent of a televised religious service, or the carefully curated social media presence of a religious organization, a strategic effort to connect with and influence a wider audience. The transition from the age of chivalry to the era of clickbait is therefore less a radical shift and more of a subtle evolution. The fundamental human desire for recognition, validation, and a place in the collective consciousness remains a constant. What has changed is the medium, the methods, and the scale. The knight seeking glory in the tourney ground is a direct ancestor of the influencer seeking likes on Instagram. The royal court boasting of its achievements is echoed in the modern-day press release, and the church's carefully curated narratives find their modern counterparts in the carefully crafted messaging of political parties and corporations. The medieval equivalent of going viral might have involved the slow, painstaking process of handwritten chronicles and word of mouth. But the underlying principle remains the same: the desire to create a lasting impression, to become memorable, to leave a mark on the collective consciousness. This drive to achieve notoriety, whether through valiant deeds on the battlefield or through captivating content online, reveals a deep-seated human need for connection and validation, a need that transcends time and technology. The differences, however, are equally significant. The slower pace of medieval life, the relative scarcity of information, and the lack of instant feedback created a different kind of attention economy. Medieval attention was a more precious commodity, harder to earn, and less easily discarded. The viral nature of a medieval success story was more organic, less subject to the whims of algorithms and trend cycles. The slow spread of information meant that reputation was built over time, through sustained effort and consistent performance, rather than through fleeting moments of online popularity. This slower pace, while presenting challenges, also fostered a greater sense of responsibility and a deeper commitment to quality. A knight couldn't simply rely on a single spectacular feat to maintain their reputation. Sustained excellence was required. This contrasts sharply with the contemporary digital world, where fleeting moments of viral fame can quickly fade into obscurity. Furthermore, the absence of modern metrics made it impossible to quantify success in the same way we do today. While a knight could assess the impact of his actions through observations of public reaction, he lacked the precise data and analytics available to modern-day content creators. This lack of precise measurement, however, might have fostered a greater focus on intrinsic rewards, emphasizing the value of the action itself rather than its quantifiable outcomes. The evolution from chivalry to clickbait also reveals a shift in the nature of attention itself. Medieval attention was often earned through acts of valor, displays of skill, or expressions of piety. Modern attention, however, can be bought, traded, and manipulated through targeted advertising, sophisticated algorithms, and the manipulation of trending topics. This raises profound questions about the authenticity and value of attention in the digital age. The quest for attention, however, remains a persistent force, woven into the very fabric of human experience. From the medieval knight seeking glory on the tourney field to the modern influencer seeking validation through likes and shares, the underlying drive is the same: the desire to be seen, heard, and remembered. The methods may have evolved, but the human need for recognition, for connection, and for a place in the larger narrative remains a timeless constant. This enduring theme serves as a powerful reminder of our shared human experience, transcending the vast chasm of time and technology that separates the medieval world from our own. The evolution from chivalry to clickbait is not merely a technological shift. It is a reflection of the enduring human desire for attention, a desire that has shaped societies and influenced behaviors for millennia, and one that promises to continue its evolution in the ever-changing landscape of digital culture. The echoes of medieval social dynamics resonate surprisingly strongly in our modern, digitally driven world. While we may not be jousting for the affections of a princess on Twitter, the underlying principles of self-promotion, reputation management, and the insatiable hunger for attention remain remarkably consistent. Consider, for instance, the elaborate courtly love traditions of the Middle Ages. These weren't simply romantic pursuits, they were intricate social performances, carefully choreographed rituals of courtship designed to display prowess, wit, and social standing. The exchange of poems, tokens, and elaborate gestures, all meticulously documented and often witnessed by a wider audience, functioned as a sophisticated form of social media engagement, a carefully crafted narrative designed to impress and attract potential partners. This bears a striking resemblance to the modern dating app culture, where curated profiles, carefully chosen photographs, and witty bios are all strategically employed to attract potential matches. The pursuit of romantic validation, whether through elaborate courtly rituals or the swipe of a finger on a screen, remains a timeless human endeavor. Furthermore, the medieval obsession with lineage and ancestry finds a fascinating parallel in today's obsession with social status and branding. The complex heraldic systems, with their intricate coats of arms and family crests, served as visual representations of social standing, instantly communicating wealth, power, and lineage to all who beheld them. These visual identifiers functioned as medieval logos, effectively branding individuals and families within the social hierarchy. Today's obsession with branding, with carefully curated online personas, and the use of visual cues to communicate status, echoes this medieval emphasis on visual communication and social positioning. The carefully selected profile picture, the branded clothing items displayed in Instagram posts, even the choice of vacation destinations. All these factors contribute to a carefully constructed online identity, just as the carefully designed heraldry of the medieval period signaled social standing. The dissemination of information in the medieval period, while slower and more laborious than our modern digital world, also bears interesting parallels. News, rumors, and gossip spread through a complex network of oral communication, letter writing, and the occasional printed broadsheet, creating a form of medieval viral information spread. These channels, though limited in their reach and speed, nevertheless played a crucial role in shaping public opinion and disseminating important information, much like today's social media platforms and news websites. Consider the impact of a royal decree spread by word of mouth throughout the kingdom, the equivalent of a trending hashtag, amplifying the message and generating widespread discussion. Similarly, the spread of scandalous rumors through a network of whispers and letters, the equivalent of a viral scandal on Twitter, could drastically affect reputations and influence political events. The underlying principles of information dissemination and the power of viral spread remain remarkably consistent, even across vastly different technological landscapes. The role of the church in medieval society offers further insightful parallels. The church wielded considerable power and influence, not only through religious authority, but also through the strategic use of communication and imagery. Magnificent cathedrals, elaborate religious ceremonies, and inspiring religious art all served as potent forms of social engagement, shaping the religious beliefs and values of the populace. This echoes the modern use of religious media, from televised sermons to online religious communities, all designed to reach wider audiences and consolidate religious influence. The medieval church's understanding of the power of spectacle and visual communication to inspire devotion and maintain influence prefigures today's sophisticated religious marketing strategies. The consistent quest to engage audiences, to maintain relevance, and to inspire belief across generations demonstrates the enduring importance of effective communication strategies in religious contexts. Medieval warfare, though brutal and often chaotic, also demonstrates the power of storytelling and narrative construction. The chroniclers of the medieval period were essentially the medieval equivalent of journalists and social media commentators. Their accounts of battles, sieges, and heroic deeds shaped public perceptions of events and influenced the attitudes of the populace toward their rulers. The crafting of narratives, both factual and embellished, served to legitimize power, promote loyalty, and instill fear in enemies. This manipulation of information through narrative construction echoes the modern use of propaganda, the crafting of persuasive narratives to sway public opinion. Modern news media, with its carefully selected angles and an emphasis on specific details, effectively shapes public perceptions, just as the medieval chroniclers did through their written accounts. The power of storytelling, the capacity to shape public opinion through carefully constructed narratives, remains a timeless constant regardless of the medium. Even the everyday lives of medieval peasants offer interesting parallels to modern digital culture. The bartering system, where goods and services were exchanged through informal networks, resembles today's online marketplaces. The exchange of gossip and news among villagers, the sharing of recipes and household tips, mirror the online sharing of information, ideas, and experiences on social media platforms. While the specifics may differ, we may communicate through Facebook posts instead of village gossip. The human need for social connection and the exchange of information remain timeless constants. Furthermore, the prevalence of local festivals and celebrations, the communal gatherings designed to promote a sense of belonging and shared identity, directly echoes the sense of community found in many modern online spaces. The human desire for community and social interaction, though mediated by different technologies, endures across time. The legacy of the medieval internet, a network of oral communication, written correspondence, and artistic expressions, has subtly but profoundly shaped our modern world. From the subtle parallels in social dynamics and information dissemination to the striking similarities in the quest for attention and social validation, the medieval period provides a surprisingly relevant framework for understanding our modern, digitally driven society. The human desire for connection, recognition, and influence transcends time and technology, demonstrating a remarkable consistency in human behavior across millennia. The evolution from the medieval social media landscape to our modern digital world is not a radical break, but rather a fascinating and sometimes humorous evolution of enduring human characteristics. The medieval world, with its knights, kings, and peasants, offers a rich, and surprisingly relevant backdrop for understanding the enduring power of social dynamics and the timeless human quest for connection in the ever evolving landscape of communication and technology. The echoes of the medieval past, reverberating through the lens of modern social media, lead us to consider a fascinating question. What does the future of historical study look like in a world increasingly shaped by digital technologies? The democratization of information, a hallmark of the internet age, presents both unprecedented opportunities and significant challenges for historians. The sheer volume of data available online, from digitized archives and museum collections to the ever expanding universe of social media, is staggering. This vast digital landscape offers historians unparalleled access to primary sources and diverse perspectives, promising a richer, more nuanced understanding of the past. Imagine the possibilities. Analyzing the sentiments expressed in millions of tweets to gauge public opinion during a medieval siege. Tracing the spread of rumors through online forums to reconstruct the narratives surrounding a historical event, or using sophisticated data analysis techniques to identify patterns in medieval migration patterns based on digital maps. The potential for new discoveries and fresh interpretations is truly breathtaking. However, this abundance of data also presents significant challenges. The very accessibility of information raises concerns about authenticity, reliability, and bias. The internet is awash with misinformation, deliberately fabricated narratives, and biased perspectives, making it crucial for historians to develop sophisticated methods for evaluating the veracity and context of online sources. The ability to quickly spread falsehoods and manipulate narratives through social media platforms presents a major hurdle to the objective interpretation of history. The speed and reach of digital communication amplify the potential impact of these manipulated narratives, blurring the lines between fact and fiction and making it increasingly challenging to establish a consensual understanding of historical events. Furthermore, the digital realm poses new ethical dilemmas for historians. The ease with which personal data can be collected and analyzed raises concerns about privacy and the potential for misuse of information. Historians must navigate carefully the ethical complexities of using online data, ensuring that their research practices respect the privacy of individuals and avoid perpetuating harmful biases. The very act of digitization itself can be selective, reflecting existing biases in the selection of materials for digitization. Certain voices, perspectives, and experiences might be inadvertently or even intentionally marginalized in the process. Social media, with its inherent ephemerality and dynamic nature, adds another layer of complexity. The constantly evolving nature of online platforms presents a challenge to the traditional archival model of historical research. Tweets, Facebook posts, and Instagram stories disappear, are deleted, or become inaccessible over time, leaving historians with incomplete or fragmented records. The very act of preserving digital data poses a unique set of challenges, requiring sophisticated archiving techniques and long-term preservation strategies to ensure the continued accessibility of online materials for future research. The development of appropriate methodologies for studying this fluid and ephemeral digital landscape is paramount for future historians. The interaction between digital technologies and historical narratives could lead to new forms of historical storytelling. The immersive potential of virtual reality and augmented reality offers exciting possibilities for bringing history to life. Imagine exploring a medieval cathedral from the inside using VR technology, or walking the streets of a medieval city using augmented reality overlays that provide contextual information and historical details. These technologies could provide more engaging and accessible ways to connect with the past, creating experiences that extend beyond the traditional confines of textbooks and museum exhibits. This innovative use of technology has the potential to make history more relatable, more engaging, and more accessible to a wider audience. Yet, we must be wary of the potential pitfalls of over-reliance on technology in historical research. The digital tools, while powerful, are only as good as the data they are fed and the interpretation applied by the researcher. The tendency to prioritize quantitative data over qualitative insights, to reduce complex historical narratives to simple algorithms and data points, is a risk that we need to mitigate. Human judgment, critical thinking, and careful contextualization remain crucial components of rigorous historical analysis, even in an age of big data and sophisticated computational tools. The future of history, therefore, lies in a thoughtful and critical engagement with the digital landscape. Historians must embrace the potential of digital technologies while remaining cognizant of their limitations. We need to develop innovative methodologies for analyzing the vast amounts of online data while remaining mindful of ethical considerations and the potential for bias. The development of robust digital archiving strategies is critical to ensure the long-term preservation of digital sources for future generations of researchers. Furthermore, historians need to actively engage with the public, educating them about the importance of historical literacy and critical thinking in the digital age. The proliferation of misinformation and the ease with which narratives can be manipulated online necessitate a greater emphasis on media literacy and critical evaluation of information sources. Historians have a crucial role to play in combating misinformation and ensuring that the past is interpreted and presented in an accurate, nuanced, and accessible manner. Ultimately, the future of history is not about a simple replacement of traditional methods with digital ones. Rather, it's about a dynamic interplay between the two. The integration of digital tools and methodologies into existing historical practices will enrich our understanding of the past, allowing for more comprehensive, nuanced, and engaging interpretations. The challenge for future historians is to harness the power of digital technologies while maintaining the rigor, ethics, and critical thinking that are essential to the discipline. The medieval internet, in all its limitations, offers a potent reminder that the human desire to connect, share, and construct narratives is a timeless endeavor, one that continues to shape our understanding of the past, present, and future. The future of history writing, much like the medieval period, will be a tapestry woven from diverse threads of information, perspective, and interpretation, requiring a discerning eye to distinguish truth from fabrication and context from speculation. It's a future that requires both technological acumen and the enduring humanistic values that have always underpinned the pursuit of historical knowledge.